tinfoil hat. Oh, what the f*** are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We are live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Go to samtripoli.gold. Use the promo code Tinfoil, and you too can get in on the Precious Metals game for as little as $50 a month, sent right to your house. Okay, very excited for today's episode. We're going to get into something we've been talking about for a long time on this show, about the attack on our institutions, attack on archetypes in which we see the world, stories that are basically our belief systems are built on. And I'm very excited to have our next guest on. He is an author. He is a small business owner, and he has a wonderful book out called The Globalist Plan to Collapse Everything. Please welcome to the show, Alan Paul Roberts. How are you, Alan Paul? How do you go by? Alan Paul? What do we go by?
Yeah, Alan's great. Or just Al, like Paul Simon said, that works too. Sam.
Okay.
So, whatever.
Welcome
I'm easy.
to the show, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you spending some time with us and talking about this very important message. For those who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Sure. So I own a small business, a small marketing firm. I've been on my own since 2011. Before that, I was in the corporate world. I was a former vice president of operations, and then after that, a VP of sales and international marketing. Jumped out in 2011, and I've been busy ever since, just running my own small business. And back in April of last year, I kind of got the knock to the tap on the shoulder to write this book. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about in your book is very, very important, and people don't realize it. I think over time we have seen kind of this liberal movement, and liberal in the sense of old school liberal, where it's kind of this idea that, you know, that this like old way of thinking, old way of looking at people wasn't the correct way to see the world, and we kind of started becoming more inclusive and with people and how they want to live their lives. And then we kind of got to the point where we're like, okay, we all love each other, it's good. And then it just kept going. And then now we're kind of in bizarro world where they're trying to get us to convince these things that don't make common sense are acceptable ways of looking at the world. And you know, we've been talking a lot. I mean, I was on Rogan recently, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to hear about Sam on Rogan all the time." But you know, I was talking about the really great doc that was done by G. Edgar Griffin called "The Capitalist Conspiracy," about, you know, them using these kind of fringe groups who think they're fighting the man to kind of destroy our archetypes and our institutions, and they think they're raging against the machine, but in reality, they're doing the work of the machine, and they're creating chaos to bring in martial law. So I'm very excited to talk to you about what you've discovered and what's in your book. So where would you like to begin?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to follow along, the book's about 11 pillars of society that I believe are under attack and in danger of falling. So if anybody wants to follow along, you can go to globalcollapsebook.com, and there's a tab in the nav. It just says 11 pillars. And so we can talk about that. But, you know, the first pillar is national borders. So I don't know if you want to begin there and go through them, or how you'd like to take it.
I just want to, I'm sorry to do this. I just want to set this up. I've come to the conclusion that we have a two-party system, which is really just two wings of the same rotten, corrupt bird. Okay. And you have the Democrats playing to the progressive left, and you have the Republicans playing to the conservative right. And the progressives the Democrats will almost give almost everything that the progressive left wants, because the progressive left wants subversion. They want to destroy what you have labeled the 11 pillars of society. I think society needs to have 4 things that they need to shun unnecessary violence. They need to shun stealing. They need to protect children at all costs, and we need to basically shun lying as well. You know what I'm saying? And the progressive left wants to destroy all these institutions. The Republicans play the conservatives. What the conservatives want is they want to empower institutions such as the family unit, God, church, the economy, law enforcement, all that stuff. And that stuff makes for a stronger country. And that's why the Republicans will give them tiny little wins to kind of the pacify the group, but they'll never give them what they really want, because both sides want to collapse and want totalitarianism. And so I think you're on point with everything you're saying. So you want to start with the borders. Let's get into that.
Sure. So the national borders are probably the most obvious collapse point. I mean, for anybody paying attention, seeing thousands and thousands coming across the border, unchecked, unfiltered, every day during the prior 4 years of the Biden administration, that was an incredibly reckless policy. I mean, we have more legal immigration than any country in the world, but legal immigration is a controlled process, vetted. You know who's coming in. Ellis Island, the whole story of that, and our growth in the past. Everybody came in through Ellis Island. They were checked to make sure they were healthy. They had to have someone they were going to live with who was going to take care of them, a job, something. And not everybody got in. Okay, so we've gone from that to a wide open border with absolutely no checks. Everybody coming straight through with virtually nothing to stop them, all kinds of gotaways. And the idea with that plan is to dilute your society so that the different nations of the world who are experiencing this, including in Europe and Australia, and not just the US, but the different Western nations that are experiencing this, lose their cultural identity. And also, of course, their systems get overloaded, their school systems, their hospital systems, the social welfare system, because they bring them in, they give them, they give them credit cards that get reloaded every month. They put them in hotels, they pay for everything. They fly them to any city they want to go to. And I just did an interview with someone from the UK who was saying their process is completely parallel to ours, except it's been going on since 2011 in their case, after the fall of Gaddafi and Libya and then Syria, all the trouble in Syria, and then the outflow into Western Europe from there. But he said even now they're coming into the UK, which is an island, which, that should not be the first country they come to, but they're going straight into the UK in some cases, of course, along with Germany and every other country in Western Europe. And it's basically a plan to weaken society, dilute society, just get things out of control. That's again, a parallel here and Australia and Western Europe.
Johnny, who's not on camera, I don't know if he is on camera.
Yeah, I can be.
Johnny just got back. He went and watched. He went to Oasis in Scotland, right?
Yeah.
And Johnny was in London, and and Johnny's done a couple trips over there. He doesn't have any kids, so him and his girlfriend like to travel a lot. And why is that? Like, why?
I hope we still will like to travel after that.
Well, it's a little harder when you have kids, but that's not the point. The point is that you're doing a lot of traveling, as you should at your age. And you were in London, and you were kind of shocked, right? What'd you see?
Well, okay, so we were there a year and a half ago now, and just in the past year and a half, it has gotten, I would say drastically worse, the immigration situation there. But it's I mean, the city proper, London, is just not an English city anymore. I've never been in an English speaking place, you know, of the countries you can go to, and seen so many clearly people who weren't born there. I think the last stat I saw was from like 4 years ago, and London is 40% non-English born people. 40% of the people that was 4 years ago, and by my eye, it is significantly worse over the past year and a half.
Are the billboards still in English? Like, is everything still?
Well, you see a lot of businesses now, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
that's where it starts.
Street side businesses and stuff, which are meant to be regulated there, and not in English. But yeah, it was shocking. So, I mean, so many burqa people, you know, just walking around.
Burqa people.
Yeah. Well, I was funny I was in the elevator with a woman just in the full beekeeper outfit. And then her guy was in a White Sox t-shirt with his belly hanging out and, you know, like a baseball cap turned backwards. It was, I mean, someone with Western cultural interests is still putting his girl in a bag, which is kind of interesting to me. But yeah, dude, I mean, you just couldn't. I mean, you don't hear. I tried to count. I went like 5 minutes walking without hearing an English word at one point, just in the clogged parts of London, you know, where like a lot of tourist stuff is, and it was mad. It was all, you know.
It's all over. I have a friend. He's in his 60s. Had lived in Germany all his life. He also runs a small business. He was still running it. He wasn't retired. And he said, I could not take it anymore. The same thing, like the lawlessness, the way that, you know, they pick and choose which laws they're going to enforce, and all the goodies given to the immigrants, and the citizens not treated properly. He said, I couldn't take it anymore. I moved, my wife and I moved to Austria, which is a German speaking country, where things are still relatively stable and kind of law and order and not an immigration overrun. But you can imagine a guy in his 60s running a business, moving at that age, just leaving the country for another country, what it would take for that. But, you know, that was his experience. And I think it's a good indicator of how off the rails Western Europe has become.
Yeah, and you know, here in the United States, what they do is they bring these immigrants in, and you know, we're all the descendants of immigrants, people who came, like you said, through Staten Island, and you know, and what happens is they don't get paid like what a regular citizen would get paid, so they have to kind of clump together, and then you start getting these like foreign pockets. Like there's parts of LA that are just every sign is Spanish. And like, I have no problems with it because I love Latinos, but like what you're doing is creating just like, I mean, it's just making for a culture where you don't blend in. My mother didn't teach us Armenian because she was from a time where you learned English. Yeah. And there's been this kind of push to hold on to your culture, even though you're running from that culture. You're running from that country. That it's like kind of when you watch like Mexico play the United States. These people all came here to get the American dream, but they have to hold on to this Mexican culture and root for their own country, even though it's the country they fled. And not only that, people who weren't even born in Mexico now claim Mexican, like their Mexican culture over the culture that they were born into. I remember a long time ago when I was playing the La Jolla Comedy Store, these two sisters wanted to hang out with us. One was extremely hot and one was not. And, you know, the guys were kind of letting the hot chick decide which one she wanted to hang out with. But they were both like screaming how much they loved Mexico, even though they didn't live there. And I found that to be absolutely shocking. It's like your ancestors at some point, they always go, when was America great? And I go, whenever the moment your ancestors decide to come here. That was when America was great. Mm-hmm. And they said, I got to get out of here to go over there because over there is much better. So that was when America was great. When your family decided they were going to leave, excuse my language, the shithole that they're in to come to this country because of the stability. And what made America great forever was that the stability. People invested in America because they knew that their investment was safe because it was stable. And that is going away. they're creating chaos. And now they're creating, again, these pockets of different cultures. And what you see it in Minnesota now. All these Somalians are like, we're going to get in to the government because that's our system, and we're going to change the system. Then why did you come here?
Yeah.
Why did you come here if you just want to change it to the place that you just ran from? Because
yeah, exactly. We don't need that. But there's when immigration is so wide open, that's what you get. When you do it like they did in Ellis Island back then, and like we did
Ellis
with
Island,
regular
right.
immigration, where you gotta learn what the country's about. You got to learn about the different levels of government and our freedoms and the Constitution. And people were proud to then become a U.S. citizen in so many cases. But when there's none of that, when it's just like, hey, roll in and just set up shop here, and in England, it was the same thing. He was explaining to me that just like the U.S., a lot of these families are having 8 to 10 kids, and they're all on welfare. The mother's on welfare, and all the children are on welfare. They're draining all that money. And that's not how it was in the past. You had to have a job. Your family took care of you. It wasn't just a huge handout. I mean, because when it is a handout, it just draws people who are looking for a handout instead of, wanting to have a job. I'm not saying everybody that comes across wants a handout, but a lot of them do because they know they'll get it. Totally. And a lot of them are getting it.
When I was in the UK last week, there was a viral video of this guy who had a TikTok, and he was TikToking his way from across the channel to England, and saying, "Hey, I'm going to get a hotel room," like before he got there, and I'm going to have the best life now, and just living on the taxpayer, like clearly inflammatory thing, meant to be inflammatory, but also to encourage people. He makes the crossing. And then people think, oh, he died because he stopped posting for a while. And then the next thing you know, he's in like a 4-star hotel room with these other guys just chilling, laying back with, he's flashing his room key in front of the camera.
And it's and the end of it is demoralization, pressure from above, pressure from below. And, tax is a penalty for success, and welfare is a reward for failure. And that's how it's going to go. And once you get on that tip and you just start getting that money and you don't have to do anything, you kind of get addicted to that. And I forget the name of the term, but there's a term for when you overwhelm the system. You overwhelm the system so much that it has to collapse. That's the only
Cloward and Piven strategy.
Yes.
Yeah. Overwhelm it and bring it down. Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're doing. So, this show is almost in December will be 9 years old. So we've been covering everything for a long time. And during the Joe Biden years, you would see videos of like the people coming in, and they were all military age men from all over the world. And very rarely did you see families coming, because like most of the time, if you're running, you're bringing your family with you to come and set up a new life. But nope, we're getting military age men, and who knows what chaos they're bringing with us, who knows what country they're from, and who knows why they're here.
Well, 5,000 from China alone, and that's just the ones we know about. So China's a communist nation, as we know. You don't just get out of China without the government allowing it. And here they are sending that many military aged men, 5,000. And that's just the ones we knew about. So yeah, that can't be good. And from what I heard, the same thing's happening in Western Europe, mostly military aged men.
Yeah. And, we've been talking about this, like, I'm going to say something and people are going to get really frustrated with it. But all I'm hearing is that a giant event is coming. And I don't know what that event is. And I kind of hate saying it, but I've heard from multiple sources, I've seen posts from people who've talked to people deep in the government. Tiffany Haddish was just in Oregon playing my friend's comedy club, and they said she was just crushing. And then at the end, she got really serious, and she told them something big is coming. She says that all of her billionaire friends are talking about how this big event is coming. And I don't know what that event is, but it sounds like a 9/11 type event will be coming. And it's all about, demoralization and basically bringing in martial law. Now, everyone's freaking out about Trump taking over DC, as they should be. But what people don't realize is that the District of Columbia is a sovereign nation and that they're always talking about making statehood. Well, he's basically taking over this sovereign nation. And it's like, it didn't start with Trump. It's even though Trump was in during the when BLM did show up and cause chaos, but these NGOs have been sponsoring this unrest since the beginning. Every single one of these movements, whether they're Marxist, communist, Zionist, whatever the movement is completely funded by billionaires and now trillionaires. Can cause unrest. So we beg for them to come save us. So because we have no faith in our politicians and we're afraid to go outside. Hey guys, real quick, I'm excited to tell you about our new sponsor. That's right, free nicotine. Yeah, I love it. Listen, guys, I've been taking it the whole show. It's fire, okay? Listen, you guys question everything. So question why other brands won't give you the strength options you actually want. The mainstream nicotine pouch market is designed to keep you dependent on weak products. Free breaks the pattern. I'm all about that. While Zins and others give you dry, unsatisfying pouches, free moisture technology delivers what they won't. And I'm telling you, this stuff is fire, literal fire. This isn't about following the crowd. It's about choosing what actually works for your independent thinkers. I freaking love it, dude. Okay. While big tobacco pushes weak, mass marketed options, free offers what they don't want you to have. I love this. Don't settle for what everyone else is using. Choose the option that actually delivers. Why do most brands stop at 6 milligrams? That's a great question, because they're playing it safe. Free goes up to 15 milligrams. Come on now, because we're not afraid of what works. Okay. It's really, really simple, all right? It's really simple. I love it, okay? It's got authenticity. It's got natural ingredients. Dude, it is fire, dude. I'm taking it. My mouth's a party, okay? It's a party in my mouth. Everybody's coming. I'm loving it, okay? You guys need to go to freepouch.com, put in the promo code TINFOIL, okay? And you get, I think it's what, $5 off?
Yeah, $5 off.
$5 off?
Nice.
Practically giving it away, dude.
And they got flavors too.
$5 off. That's 20% off, guys. And they got everything up to 15 milligrams. I can't recommend. You can get a 100-count pack. If you're in, you're in. And we thank Free for sponsoring. Dude, I love this. I'm banging it right now. Thank you, Free, for sponsoring this show. Guys, listen, the economy's getting crazy. You know, and I know it. Dude, they're printing more money than ever. And that's why if you're looking to put your money somewhere, put it in the precious metals. I'm telling you, this is the best investment you can do to stabilize your cash. And that's why I want you guys to check out our friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, let me tell you about them. If you're paying attention, you know that de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver has been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all things precious metal. Veteran-owned and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small, and you can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolf Pack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So go to samtripoli.gold, promo code TINFOIL at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. And remember, in the world of bulls and bears, be the wolf.
Well, you know something's going on when they're building underground bunkers, right? But I mean, I think I see Trump not as so much conservative or anything else. He's hard to put a label on because he's more a pragmatist, you know, the businessman attitude, like just get it done kind of thing. And he doesn't neatly fit into anyone's box. But I mean, something had to be done in DC. I mean, the place is out of control, and we know that all the big blue cities to some degree are out of control. But I mean, this is the nation's capital, and there are special provisions in the Constitution to be able to take power over that. So I don't see it as quite as unhinged as maybe some people do. But I think Trump is careful to always act within the law. I mean, have you ever noticed how when people come at him and take him to court and everything, you would think he would just lose it at some point, but he always goes through the process. He always goes through the court system, even when I mean, I would be tempted in some of these cases where these judges are coming at me to say, you know what, you have no standing. You're way outside your jurisdiction.
Yep.
We're going to ignore you. That would be my thing, but he never does that. He just takes it on the chin and lets the process play out. And then 2 months later, it's overridden and he continues on his way while he's doing 29 other things along the way that got done too. I mean, the man's like, he's like a machine. I've never seen anything like it for what he can get done, but also the way he just keeps moving forward. But it's always within the legal system. I haven't seen him step outside of that, even though he gets accused of it. I think he is sticking to the letter of the law from what I've seen.
It is interesting. I mean, with Trump, you got to kind of support the wins. And I like it when everyone's kind of mad at the president. I think it's a much better way to operate than when you fall in love with someone like Obama and he gets away with murder. You know, I do believe they're all two wings of the same corrupt bird. I just think Trump represents a different group of people, and I agree. He doesn't fit the mold. I mean, I agree with you that the Republican and Democrat Party are for the most part owned, and a lot of people are bought off, and it is kind of a uniparty. I don't personally see him that way, though. I think he's like a bull in a china shop. I mean, if he was a member of the club, he wouldn't have been shot at, and every court case, gone up against him. I mean, they say I remember his reaction to, "You think I'm a king?" He said, "I got to fight like hell for every little thing, every little inch that I get." You know what I mean? He's fighting the court systems. Nobody's really on his side, it seems like, as far as the uniparty goes. He's making it happen just by sheer force of will and getting some people around him who agree with him. Do you think there's any point of this could be a little bit of theater or a lot of bit of theater? That if you kind of make it seem like he's an outsider, that people rally around him a little bit more? I mean, there are things that I get very nervous about with him, and I will fight him tooth and nail on, even though I would take him over probably everybody since Kennedy, maybe. And even Kennedy had his things. I mean, you're never going to get a perfect person in there in any way, shape, or form. But, the Israel
there's so much corruption. There's so much corruption he's got to deal with.
It's very, very it makes me very on edge, the Pelletier shit. That makes me very, very on edge. And I think we should always keep our eye on the prize, even if we like somebody. That is the position of president is a dangerous position. It is. I would say he's more of a president than Kamala Harris ever would have been. It would have been the end of an empire. Our last guest, Ryan Slate, came on, and he was talking about, during the Roman Empire, they were just putting basically mannequins in at that point, and the military was running everything. Yeah. There's a little bit of that that I get very nervous about. The Israel stuff is very, very concerning to me. The Palantir stuff is very concerning to me. And the Build Back Better bill is, our dollar's going to be just fucking annihilated, dude. It's just going to get annihilated. And it's so crazy to think that, that during Bill Clinton, we had a balanced budget, right? We were kind of running as surplus, and now we're like 5 presidents later. Suddenly, we're just. Our dollar is going to be a peso soon if we don't play.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, and that's one of the collapse points is banking and finance.
Okay, let's get into that.
And that's probably the weakest pillar of all, and the one that concerns me the most. So I'm with you there.
I mean, you have Larry Fink now becoming the head of the WEF.
Worst nightmare.
That guy literally is saying that there won't be any single family homes anymore. Just think about that, man.
Yeah, because they're buying them all.
And people are, and these boomers, dude. I mean, my parents, I love them with all my heart. You know, they're getting old, and I'm enjoying them while I can, as much as I possibly can. But man, they bought these. Think about what they used to buy the price of a house for. It was almost what a car is now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, and the great thing about the new future is that you won't even have to worry about buying a house. You'll just lease one, you'll just have a subscription to your home.
And have you seen they have a computer program that all the landlords are basically at gunpoint forced to use, which artificially inflates the price of rent? They tell them what everyone's charging rent. So your rent is really high. And it's just like, that's why people are living in their cars now. They can't afford this rent. They're working a 40, 50-hour week, and they still can't even afford the basics of life.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's so unfair to them. And then on top of that, you have the Federal Reserve jacking up our interest rates when the same worldwide banking system owns the European Central Bank, and they're giving them much better rates at a time where we're in better shape. I mean, we're not in great shape, but we're in better shape than Europe is in terms of our economy and the investment that's coming back and, how we're doing overall. Yet our rates are higher, which of course affects those homeowners or wannabe homeowners and every business that wants to, borrow money to do what they need to do. I mean, everybody's feeling the pain of the interest rates, which historically they're not that high, but they're high when the total cost is high because all the properties are overvalued. Like you said, they're buying up the homes, so they're able to jack the price up on the homes. They're renting out the homes, so they control so many of them that they're able to have a big impact on the price of rent. And something's got to be done. I mean, I think there ought to be some type of legislation to limit the percentage of homes that can be owned by non-homeowners. A certain percent need to be individuals living in them because this is getting out of control.
And the craziest part is that they're using your retirement to basically screw your children's generation over. So
yeah, they have control. They have control of all these retirement funds and how they're investing in it. They're using that money to do what they want.
And it's almost like there's this kind of movement to like make the more enjoyable areas to live in harder and harder to live in, so that everyone's going to have to move to the coldest areas, live in the harshest parts of the country to live in if you want to be independent. It's like, oh, I'm going to go live in Idaho. And Idaho's great. This isn't a knock on Idaho, right? I've been to Idaho. They're wonderful people. But it's like, it's not San Diego.
Right.
And like, they're going to make it like Gavin Newsom's whole thing is to make this state a feudal system, uber rich and incredibly poor. So you're going to have your whole family living in a 2-bedroom.
My wife says that Gavin reminds her of like the evil guys on the Hunger Games. The rich people, remember them in the Hunger Games, living in utter luxury, and they just have this kind of sleazy attitude. Yeah, and that's Gavin. He seems to fulfill that image to
American
me.
Psycho.
Yeah.
He keeps doing all these podcasts. No one asks him, what do you think the perception of you is outside of your bubble? I would love to know what he thinks people think of him.
He is so slick and fake. I mean, I think everybody can see it. He's a chameleon. He's got no anchor that I can detect.
I mean, it just came out that California has the highest unemployment rate. In the country. I mean, think about California. One of the fifth largest economy in the world, and they have the highest rate of unemployment.
Probably because their borders have been wide open for so long, and everything's expensive. Businesses are fleeing. The cost of doing business is through the roof. Taxes are crazy. I mean, who would want to live there if it didn't have the ocean and the weather?
100%.
I mean, everybody'd be leaving if it wasn't for that.
That, or why go back to work if unemployment is a little bit better than actually working? A little bit less than actually working. I know a lot of people that do unemployment and they have a side hustle where they get paid under the table. And they're like, it's better than going back to work because minimum wage sucks, and whatever.
Minimum wage sucks, and it again gets into this kind of game plan they have, which is to completely destroy the nuclear family and just have men have no purpose. And men need purpose. Men have always defined themselves through their paycheck and being able to provide for their children. And when you have this kind of koronasvistia, whatever that term is, where the communists did it in Russia, where they installed party loyalists at every single PowerPoint of the structure, and they're basically giving it to women now. I remember, I've talked about this before, where I was flying and Delta's like, we're now only training women to be pilots. You're like, why is that good? Why is anyone celebrating that? Why is that?
Well,
celebration?
our own military up until recently had a goal, and this is in the book, to reduce the number of white men in the Air Force from like 64% to something like 42% over a period of several years. And like you said, why is that a good thing? Like, why is that even a goal? Shouldn't the goal just be to get the best person we can get in every single position? And that's all that matters. I mean, it's the Air Force, for gosh sake, you know what I mean? It's not some country club. It's the Air Force. We want the best people we can have in every position to protect us. And the same goes for pilots or surgeons or doctors or anybody that's doing a critical job. We just all want the best person, not some other criteria.
Well, yeah, and we're going to get into the military, I'm sure, at some point. But like, and if you look at the fires, I tried to get this to discuss this with Rogan. Okay, I brought it up again. But is that like when we had these fires, they somehow it gets released, and I think it's purposeful, that you have that lesbian firefighter going, yeah, if I can't carry you and I come to get you, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Why would you say that? Like, what would encourage you to say that if you're trying to promote diversity, that this woman's saying she can't do the job? Because they want you to blame diversity on this whole collapse. They want you to go, oh, it's the lesbians and the non-binaries and the ethnics on why it's going bad. And it's not being purposefully done by these Bolsheviks who are trying to collapse it from the inside. What is more acceptable to the power people? Blaming diversity or blaming the leaders?
Yeah, geez, they do so much of both. I think they just want us all warring with each other any way they can, just, stick it in our face and get us all outraged and, up in arms with each other so that we're not focused on the leadership and what they ought to be doing.
Yeah, when you bring up money, taxation's a big part of that. A lot of people are talking right now about, like, even in the years of slavery, like pure slavery, the slaves would have to give X number of their money to their masters, but for that they got food, shelter, clothing. And this isn't a pro-slavery discussion here, but I'm saying compare that to what's going on right now. We just showed something on doom scrolling the other day, which was a fire episode. This woman who runs a salon, she asked all of the girls who work at the salon, how much do you think she had to pay in taxes, in payroll taxes? And someone said 85, someone said 100, someone said 115. She's like $250,000 she had to pay in taxes just to pay her employees.
Wow. How many did she have? Do you know?
Well, I would say based on the video, it was like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely insanity. When we print money, this goes back to it. We're printing money. Our money is no longer even backed by anything. It used to be backed by, you'd have to have $1 in the bank to lend out $10. Think about that, right? Mm-hmm. I lend you $10. You pay me back $1. I take that $1. I lend him $10. He pays me back $1. I pay him $1, $10, and then they're just creating all this fake funny money. Well, they got rid of that. Now they don't even need money in the bank. They can just give you the money.
Yeah, it's over the top crazy. I mean, in the book it talks about that our national debt is growing or has been growing at a rate of 1 trillion every 100 days. I mean, it's out of control. I loved it when Elon was starting to do the Doge thing and we're starting to scrape it back. And then Congress comes out with a big, beautiful bill. It's just loaded with pork. Elon, blows a gasket, and I can't blame him. He's like, what did I just devote the last 6 months of my life to?
Yeah.
You people are nuts, and, it seems like nobody wants to control spending. But, I mean, we have to because this whole reserve status of the dollar is going away. I mean, I did hear recently Treasury sales are starting to pick up a little now, but, we're not selling near enough Treasury notes to other countries like we used to be to Japan and China and the UK, and these other big holders aren't buying near what they used to buy. So we can't afford to borrow our way into oblivion like we used to because people aren't buying it anymore. So we got to get the spending side under control if there's any hope for avoiding an economic crash.
I don't know. How do we do that? I mean, how do we, it's like this, like the voting process in this country is kind of like courting, right? Like when you want to hook up with a girl, you'll say whatever you have to say to get laid. Yeah. Whatever she wants to hear, you're going to tell her, right? And that's why women go crazy. They give it up, and then you're like, I'm out of here. You're like, what happened to the love and all that stuff, right? I get it. I totally get it. It's the same thing with voting. We have these elections, and these guys tell us everything we want to hear.
Yeah.
And then when they get in, they do none of it.
Well, the problem, too, with this particular issue is that you have people who believe modern monetary theory where deficit spending doesn't matter at all, and the debt doesn't matter at all. Their idea is that when you can print the notes, it's irrelevant, and taxes are essentially just so that you can take money out of circulation and burn it. Is what they believe. So they don't believe there'll be any consequences.
Yeah,
to the spending.
I was on Timcast and Phil was talking about they just take the money out to burn it. I mean, show me a bank that lends money and doesn't charge interest to get money back. It doesn't exist. The notion about burning the money is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Sorry about the language, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, dude. I think
the game's over because that system worked when we truly were the reserve currency. But if other countries don't trust the currency, they're going to start demanding more of it for everything. And then inflation will happen and we'll be in a trap. I mean, if you have less faith in my money, you're going to want more of it because it's losing value, or you see a future where it's going to lose value. So I think we don't have near the leverage we did. I think that whole system's coming down. So we got to get the spending under control at some point. But I think Trump made a really good point where he said, we still have to get the votes. And remember the big, beautiful bill, what it was in the Senate? It was a 50-50 vote. J.D. Vance had to come in and break it, So, I mean, he's got a point. These senators and congressmen, they have to be on board. And it's almost like you were saying, you almost have to buy them off with their goodies to get them to vote your way. And they just barely squeaked it across the line. So I think his point was there's going to be that pork in there because our system's so screwed up and the way our senators and congressmen work is so messed up that that's the only thing they react to, a lot of them. And there's enough of them that are corrupt that that's what it takes to get something passed.
But the point I was trying to make is like there's no way to regulate these politicians. Like in England, and I'm not saying Europe is anything of an example of what we should follow, but they have a no confidence vote. They get rid of their guys constantly, and they replace some other guys. But we have no way. If you vote a guy in and he instantly votes against what he campaigned on, there's no way to get rid of these guys. We have to.
Well, they hardly ever use what they do have. I mean, if you really step out of the line, you can get sanctioned. And what was that they did to Trump 2 times to try to get him out? I mean, you can pull procedures like that to get judges out, and a congressman who's really onerous. Every once in a while, they'll kick him out, but it's got to be so over the top before they'll even take that effort.
And
that
it's-
it almost never
And
happens.
it usually tends to be theater too. Like
Yeah,
it's
the
a-
impeachment was theater,
Yeah.
completely, and censure is an idea, is a way to kind of slap them on the wrist, but literally it's a slap. I mean, well, not literally,
Yeah.
but it is a slap on the. I mean, it's no consequence. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
oh, naughty boy.
And the guys they do get out tend to rally against sacred cows that you're not allowed to go against. So that
Yeah.
they end up getting,
Yes.
oh, okay, you were maybe had a moment of anti-Israel. Oh, we can't have that here. You're now. And then they get rid, like that one guy who had the weird toupee that ended up going to jail or dying. And he was talking about how, AIPAC controls everything. And he was instantly thrown out. And that's the game that gets played. There's certain sacred cows you can't touch. You can rally against anything else, but there's just sacred cows, at least a couple of years ago, that you weren't allowed to talk about. And and they just keep voting for the same thing over and over and over again, and the debt gets higher and our dollar gets worth less and less and less. And it's crazy to me that they're just going to try to implode this thing. And I don't know what on the other end is that. Hey guys, real quick, I will tell you about our good friends at Ava. Man, I'm telling you, you young people are so lucky to have Ava. Ava's out there cleaning up, helping you clean up your credit. Okay. You make a payment, they let them know. You got to have somebody like Ava behind you. Because, you ever felt like you're being punished for mistakes that you made years ago? Huh? You're telling me? I mean, there's a car back in Vegas that I was worried about forever, for all time. Huh? Just sitting around, mocking me, making me feel like I was just garbage. Okay? That's what bad cred feels like, yo. Okay? But there's a way out. All right? And I'm telling you, it's Ava. All right? Ava is the stuff. Ava is a credit building app. It helps you. While you help yourself, Ava lets everybody know. It's kind of like your hype man. Okay? You do something good, Ava tells everybody about it. Okay, it's a credit building app. It makes it easy to improve your credit fast, and that's what you need in this day and age. You need to get that credit up. It's getting harder and harder to get loans out there. The best way to get that credit score up in 700s, or you can be a credit card god in the 800s. Okay, you can help you improve your credit fast, so you can get better loans, pay off debt faster, and keep more money in your pocket. And that's all what we all want. God, I wish I had Ava as a kid. You guys had no clue. Back in my day, we had to make a payment, call somebody, tell us, hope they answer the phone, hope somebody knew. We had to send smoke signals. It was nuts. Ava is a godsend. You're blessed. Get Ava right now. If you got crappy credit and you want good credit, get Ava, okay? I want you to take control of your credit. Let's do it. Download the Ava app, AVA, today. When you join, use our promo code TINFOIL. Put it in there. Let them know. Shout our name. Put some respect on our name. And your first month is totally free. Get the Ava app. Use our promo code TINFOIL so they know we sent you. Okay? And get your first month free. What are we doing here? This is awesome. Okay, the promo code's tinfoil. And we want to thank Ava for being ride and die with us, and we want you to go out there and get some good credit. Go get that good credit, yo. You deserve it. Okay? Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, and I could be wrong, but I think Trump sees this as a race against the clock. Like he's trying to bring manufacturing back at a fast enough pace that, there will be jobs. And if there's jobs, then that's less government handouts. It's more tax revenue. It's less of a deficit. When we're putting tariffs on and all that's going on. I mean, to me, it's like a Herculean task to try to actually pull this off. And I think he knows it, but he can't say it. He can't say what's really going on. Because I think if he did, we'd all be so terrified, the whole thing would come down. But and that's why he's putting so much pressure on the Federal Reserve to lower their rates too, because I think every percentage point is hundreds of billions of dollars of extra money we're paying, the government's paying, not to mention businesses and homeowners and everybody else. But But yeah, I see it as this power play to try to save it before it comes down under its own power, like a house of cards.
And it's these H-1B visa stuff. It's almost like they said, okay, we tried to just move the manufacturing over here. It's so unstable over there. Let's just move it back here, but bring them all over here where it's more stable. Right? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
No, I mean, we're doing them the favor. They were trying to embed themselves in our economy, and now we're just inviting them to do it.
Yeah, but it's also like it's insanity the way, and you hear progressives talk about this, how they're so they're anti nationalism when it comes to the economy. Like oh, dude, if we build cars here, they're going to be a bazillion dollars. And I remember I got in an argument with a guy who was a showrunner in comedy clubs. I mean, in television shows. I go, there's 12 cars that are made in America. Tell me who they are. What do you mean? Name the cars that are named here, because according to you, they should be costing bazillions of dollars. Can you name them? No, you can't, because there's a market cap on what people are willing to pay. And in the long run, maybe a corporation loses a little money, but eventually they'll start making more money because their workers will have cash to buy stuff. I remember.
Bingo. That's the thing. That's the thing that nobody seems to get. That if you bring the jobs back, then you're paying people here instead of letting that money go out of the country. So economists call that the velocity of money. How many times does that money get spent and passed around? You know what I mean? So if we are spending the money by paying people in this country and they're buying things that were built by people with jobs in this country, then all that money stays in the country. It's like if you paid your wife to cut your hair, right? And you gave her whatever, $50 to cut your hair instead of paying someone else to do it, right? Now that 50 is within the family. You can go spend it on groceries or whatever. It didn't leave to go somewhere else. Well, that's kind of like what a country's like when it all stays within the country. It gets spent within the country. And so people have more money to spend. And so even if prices go up, they're getting paid more because they're more in demand. And I mean, this is how it used to be. It used to be that all the TV sets, the washers, the dryers, the cars, all the electronics, Texas Instruments, it was all made here. And the country was healthier for it. It wasn't like, am I going to get a job when I graduate? It's like, what kind of job do I want? And how do I pick the right one? And I mean, I graduated from business school before the country was all messed up. And I had so many options that it was really like, how do I make the right choice? I graduated with a business degree, and I mean, that's what it was like back then. And I'm talking in the 80s. So
yeah,
it got crazy in the 90s. It started with NAFTA. I mean, I was helping I was in manufacturing, and when NAFTA came in, within about 2 years, everybody was panicking because everybody was afraid that their competitor was going to learn how to outsource quicker than they were, and they're going to go out of business.
Yep.
So I helped open a factory in Honduras, so that we could just test the waters and learn how to do it in case we had to go full time that way. And, but and I saw all the local factories, all our subcontractors getting shut down as more and more people were outsourcing. And it was terrible. All these people that had jobs no longer had jobs, or they had to go work at a 7-Eleven or something like that to make ends meet, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. And it doesn't have to be that way. I would much rather bring it all back. And I even said that before Trump got in the first time, because he was talking about it. I told my kids, I said, you watch. If he brings jobs back, you're going to see for the first time an economy where wages are going to go up and things are going to start looking better. And sure enough, in his first terms, wages were going up for the middle class. Purchasing power for the first time in decades was actually going up, because we were bringing some jobs back. And I think there's the potential to really ramp that up. It could be day and night. I would gladly pay more rather than have to pay it all out in welfare any day. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. The way people talk about people don't understand, like, there was a time before free trade, and it's called the 80s. And it was awesome. We all look back on the 80s going, that was an amazing time. Yeah. Because we didn't have free trade and we were making stuff here and everybody had money. These people are just, they have Stockholm syndrome.
They do. They do. And it's like they don't know that every other country's tariffing the heck out of us and always has. And we used to tariff them too. But somewhere along the line, we got this bright idea that we should drop all tariffs to zero and let them keep tariffing the heck out of us. And this is going to work out some way.
Do you know who did that? The military. The military made deals with countries that if you allow us to put military bases in your country, you can send goods to America, no tariffs, and you could tariff the shit out of our stuff. Yeah, that was all done on purpose, man, by the military industrial complex. So they could just put up bases everywhere, right? What'd you want to say?
I was going to ask if all the manufacturing comes back to the United States, do you think the lifetime of the product would last longer, if you know what I mean? Like things used to last longer, like a washing machine used to last 10, 20 years. Now it literally has a lifetime of 2 years till the warranty's done pretty much. Do you think if the products came back, it would give it a longer lifetime for the product?
I don't really think it's who's making it. I think they're making it that way on purpose, like the pre-planned obsolescence. I think it's just it's a decision they're making in the design phase. I don't think that it's poor labor quality that's causing that. I think it's just the design itself.
And the final thing about this is this notion that Americans don't want to do. I get in arguments with people on this. Americans don't want to do this job. What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? They had a story where they ICE raided this factory and they got rid of all the illegals there. The next day, the line was around the block of Americans trying to get those jobs.
It was like a chicken processing plant or something,
it's like the most ridiculous thing ever. And I saw this story, and it was so obvious propaganda. Yeah, this guy got rid of all of his illegals, and he hired Americans, and they were doing shitty work and wanted to go home early. I'm like, bro, that is the biggest propaganda bullshit I've ever seen in my life, dude. I make the joke, like I'm such a fat ass. I went to Wendy's at like 11 p.m. at night, and the guy who handed me my food was a 55-year-old.
Dude, that was one thing I did notice when we were in Scotland, not in England. In Scotland, there were people age appropriate for the jobs that you just don't see here anymore. It was like teenagers doing most of the small.
Like when I grew up.
You never see that in America now, ever. It's
because they're turning them into careers.
That's all you can do. It's like you said, working multiple jobs. I have a question though. So, about I know people who have tried to manufacture things completely in this country, and on a medium, to small level, like thousands of units, not tens of thousands, and they have had. It's been almost impossible. Some things they had to go to Canada for because the people who had the machining skills and the tooling skills and even just some of the machines required to make what they were making, like a grill scraper, it just don't exist here anymore. How do we unwind that? How does that get? Because that seems to be more of a systemic thing where like we have to kind of also bring back technical education as well. How do we
I agree. 100% technical education in the entire supply chain. We just need to reverse what we did from NAFTA forward. We have to just reverse it, completely reverse it. Bring the skills back, bring the training back, bring the. I know they're working on the raw materials and the rare earth minerals and all those kind of things. They're working on getting all that. I mean, it's an enormous job. And again, it's a race against the clock. And I think it's going to be ugly for some time. But back in 94, it wasn't really Clinton who had a great economy. It was Newt Gingrich and what they did in Congress. And Clinton was forced to go along with it. Yeah. I mean, one of the things they did is you had to be looking for a job to get welfare. And they cut the number of weeks dramatically that you could be on welfare. And so when you put those two things together, what happens is when people get off of welfare, if they can't find a job, they start opening up their own small business. And you had an explosion in the number of small businesses getting formed. But, these people who don't want to work, we talk about, well, part of the thing is the welfare cushion needs to be a lot less generous and a lot less long-lived in terms of how many weeks you can be on it, so that people understand they have to get a real job. But it's the carrot and the stick. We're all like that. If we have kids, you know what it's like. If you go too soft on their kids, they're going to get lazy. We're all like that. It's human nature. There has to be the incentive and the process and just a normal set of rules again. We need to get back to all that. But I don't think it's going to be easy, and it could be really uncomfortable in a lot of ways. But I think we have to get the whole supply chain back and start making things here for just about everything that we can.
The hope was that Trump might do that, but the big beautiful bill shot all hope I had of because it's going to be something on the scale of like the New Deal for them to do what you're talking about, right? It's going to and the motivation for that just doesn't seem to be there. Would you agree right now in the executive office especially?
Well, I know he's how many trillions in investment did they bring back? And I know they are talking about the rare earth minerals and the supply chain. He's got some smart people that he's working with. I think they want to do it all. I really do.
I hope
whether they can pull it off, I think is a whole different question.
So do you think Detroit could become the Motor City again? Like, is that what we're talking about? Like, if this was successful, we're talking about Detroit becoming what it used to be?
Detroit and anywhere else. South Carolina, wherever they want to make the cars in the U.S. But yeah, I do think so.
People don't think it's possible. It was built up once.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they do it again? People need cars. People need these stuff. They're going to try to make it illegal for you to have cars. And that's why, the truth of the matter is the days of just living your life and not paying attention to your local, state, and national politics is done. Unless you want to live in a complete dystopia, you have to pay attention. Like, I have to start going to these Board of Education meetings for my kids. I have to go and I have to watch. What are you pushing on my kids? Well, they don't need to know about genders. They need to know about how are they going to, and I'm sure this is another pillar. Is this another pillar, education?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we get into that?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about it. So when I was doing the research on the education pillar, I was really surprised at what I found. We know the U.S. doesn't rank high, but there was a study among the industrialized nations of how are we doing in math? Like, how is the typical 19 to 28-year-old doing in terms of their math knowledge? Like a decade after they're out of high school, and the U.S. ranked the worst out of 34 countries in math and science. It was the U.S. The U.K. I think was second worst, and some European countries, Italy, Spain, Ireland, France, they were all doing bad with the U.S. leading the charge. The ones who were doing great: South Korea, Japan, Finland, Netherlands, Belgium. That kind of surprised me. Czech Republic. So we rank last, even though we spend more than anybody else, and even though we're supposedly, the world's superpower. That was something that surprised me. But then I saw this interview from the 80s with a guy named Thomas Sowell, who was interviewed by Diane Rehm. And this was, a couple decades ago. He was already seeing the decline in education. He grew up in Harlem, right? And he said, my education as a boy in Harlem in the public school system back then was better than what I can get my daughter today in a private school, an expensive school. He goes, don't get me wrong, the private school isn't bad, but it honestly is not as good as what I had growing up in Harlem, because the teachers were demanding. They taught, math, science, reading, all the core things, and they drilled us like crazy, and they would take absolutely no excuse for not having your homework done. And you better be at school on time, no excuses. And they worked us hard, and we learned a lot because we stayed at it all day long. And he said it's really not that way. The whole curriculum, even then, a couple decades ago, is so soft now. The kids are learning about things that even back then are more, related to your feelings and what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's more subjective, not so much on the core as it used to be. So, it goes way back. And this whole thing about the lack of meritocracy is kind of all through society. And I know it seems like they're trying to turn that around a little bit, but if you had kids in Little League, have you seen, I mean, some of these Little League teams, they don't even keep score because they don't want the kids to see themselves as a loser versus a winner. And the funny thing is, the kids still keep score on their own. They still know.
I would be if my daughter's playing. I'm like, the final score is 4-3. We won, you lost. I would yell that. This is absolute because, and again, it gets into this programming versus reality. And like, I mean, I'm a conspirator, so I believe in conspiracies. That this is all done so when you hit the real world, you fracture and you just need to get on medication. You got to go to a therapist because your feelings don't match reality, and they're going to put you on pharmaceuticals. You know, and a big part of it, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I always make jokes about being illiterate and all that stuff, you know. Some of these long math problems I've never used once in my life. I love to go on YouTube and just watch these guys do long math problems. I want to see if I have any clue what they're talking about. So, I mean, I get some of that, but it's really about dumbing down the nation so we can't participate in our government. We can't follow along what's going on so they could pass a bazillion laws for the corporations, military, industrial, and big pharmaceuticals, and they can just do whatever they want, line their pockets. Nobody knows what's going on because they're too busy looking at TikTok. And I do the same thing. I mean, it's hard for me because when I was a kid, I would come home and I would just leave my house. And then we would go outside and play. So when my kids come home from school, I'm like, they can't go outside because there's so many people in vans with candy. You're freaking out that what's going to happen. So they sit on their pads. Now my daughter's vocabulary is huge because she's been watching these videos. So I don't know what the answer is, dude, because it's hard right now because you got to over parent these kids more than our parents ever did it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, in the summertime when I was a kid, I mean, I was home when it got dark, or right before it got dark. When the street light's on, you better be home. And, you know, I'd come home for lunch. But between breakfast and lunch, my parents didn't see me. They didn't know where I was half the time. The same thing between lunch and dinner, and the same thing between dinner and coming home when the street light went on. I mean, they didn't know. They weren't worried about it. I mean, we were just doing our thing. And I mean, that would be a crazy, dangerous world to do that today with your kids. But I mean, we went on bike hikes, 20-mile hikes in the middle of the day, never told our parents. I mean, it was, it kind of reminded me of like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. It wasn't that good, but it was like closer to that than what we have today with all the helicopter parents and everybody's at home playing video games, hardly ever going outside. And I mean, this might sound crazy, but I also blame it on the air conditioning becoming common, because before it was common, you had to go outside to get some relief from the heat in your house in the summertime. You know what I mean? It was too hot. You didn't want to be inside. So everybody was outside.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And, my parents were teachers. I mean, it's so crazy. I also believe that the internet, let me say this. I think the internet only promotes the craziest of what we do. That's the only way you go viral. So we see all these teachers and all their political statements. My kids are in school. My daughter's kindergarten teacher has a nose ring. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But she's a very nice person. The
You're lucky it's only a nose ring.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, if I start seeing purple hair, we're getting out of here. But the principal is the nicest person you've ever met. And, as we've talked about in the show before, the education system is to give you barely enough education so you can function in society, but it's also to train you to follow orders. So what happens is, and I love teachers. My parents are both teachers. I defend teachers to the end. But a lot of what happens is these kids go through the system. They're so good in the system. They stay in the system and become teachers. And they are there because they have been able to follow the talking points of the elites. They push what they're told, and then they get into the position of a teacher, and they're giving talking points, and that's what they teach because that's what they've been trained to do.
Yeah, they're not thinking independently. Well, these 11 collapse points, the premise of the book is that the whole point of these collapse points is to bring it all down. the Western world, to bring it all down and upon the ashes to build their new world order. So they're not just bringing it down because they're greedy. They're not just weakening the school system because they want us to be easier to control. They're weakening all of it to bring it all down at some point, and to bring in their new world order, the whole worldwide system of government, which I know to some people will sound crazy, but I'm sure not to you. Any podcast called Tinfoil Hat cannot be surprised at what I'm saying.
No, not at all.
But, you know what I mean. No, but that's so there is a purpose behind it, and yeah, the book takes you through all that, but it's not like this is just random stuff. I mean, it's easy to look at one thing or another thing and say, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but you almost have to look at the whole thing together to get your arms around the whole thing to make sense of it. Because there's things that don't make sense unless you're trying to bring it down. I mean, nobody would leave the southern border wide open to millions of people coming across. I mean, look what's going on in New York City with people living in hotels, 4- and 5-star hotels. I mean, the crime on the rise. You can see where this is going if it hadn't been stopped. And even now, it's going to be hard to reverse it if it can be done at all. But it was only going in one direction, and the same thing in Europe, all in one direction. Western Europe, Australia, same thing. They're having the same issues we are, but worse because it's been going on longer for them. You know, we had Trump in for a while, and that kind of slowed it down for 4 years. Biden gets in wide open. Trump's back in, you know, slowing it down again
to zero.
From what we're told. Europe had been wide open. The throttle was wide open the whole time, and you know, we were becoming Europe basically.
So we got what's another pillar? What's one of the bigger pillars that you've noticed that they're going after?
Yeah, well, obviously the medical system. That's pretty obvious. That we saw the impact of that during COVID. There's the food supply and energy. Yeah. All three of those, I think, are really big. So you can take your pick.
Let's go. What do you guys want to do? You want to do energy or food?
Let's talk about the food supply.
Let's talk about the food supply.
Because coming up on a farm, it's something I'm always kind of looking at and
Quick
concerned
question.
about.
Is the fast food better over there in London as they claim? Like,
is the fast food?
Yeah.
Better? I didn't have a lot of fast food when I was there, honestly. So I can tell you one thing. The potato chips, because they have Lay's potato chips over there. It's the same. It's called Walker's, though. And they have this flavor called shrimp cocktail, prawn cocktail. And they're absolutely better. They're 100% better. I know that's not really what you asked.
Well, they don't have all the junk chemicals. They don't allow them like we do. So you would think that alone would make them better, right?
I would. It's something. Yeah, they taste, and I mean, they're still potato chips, so I get it. But yeah, they're delicious.
And I think the whole thing again is make us so unhealthy and uneducated. We can't participate in our government, and we won't be able to come to grips or understand that our Federal Reserve is funding everything you hate in the world, and our militaries become stormtroopers for corporations. I mean, there's famous stories of like Pepsi having a problem with the country, so the military went in and overthrew the country. You know, the banana wars. That's where Banana Republic comes from. They go in for these corporations and annihilate the country, and they don't want, because they want you to believe it's about democracy. It is not. It's about corporate takeovers. Yeah, and they just don't want you to be able to be healthy enough or educated enough to be able to understand what is happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the future world we can kind of see hints of it when you look at the World Economic Forum and the amount of power these big corporations have in the world to influence government policy and vice versa. It's really the unification of big corporations and worldwide government. And that's a good segue to the food supply, because one of the things I found when I really took a close look at that is a couple things are pertinent here. Number one, they're trying to destroy the food supply. But number two, very few corporations in the world, it's only a few of them that really have control of the food supply. Like they roll up. Like we think of all these brands, but these brands come under big umbrellas of major food companies. Yeah. And there's just really a handful of them that own all the major brands of the world that are at least, the big food suppliers. And then you have, high level control of a lot of the farmland. But the thing that shocked me is I don't know if you saw Tucker Carlson before he was off of Fox, where he did this one show on what the heck is happening with the fires at food plants. And this was maybe, I'm guessing, 6 months before he was out of there at Fox. But during the week that they were doing the research for that show, like fires at food plants, 2 different planes flew into 2 different food plants and caught the food plants on fire. So that really caught my attention. Like, what is that? Is that just the perfect storm, or is there something worse going on here? So I did the research into what's going on at the food plants across the country. And I came upon this study in the year 2021 for the entire year. There were 10 incidents at major food plants, just 10, like less than 1 a month on average. In the first half of 2022, there were 90. 15 a month on average, 90. And so this is out of all ability to say statistics or just a random fluctuation here. This is intentional. So I kept looking for more studies on this, and I found this one that looked at the food supply just for a couple months, March through May of 2022. And I'll just read you like roughly the first half of March and tell me if this makes any sense. March 4th, 2022, 294,000 chickens destroyed at a farm in Stoddard, Missouri. Same day, 644,000 destroyed at an egg farm, Cecil, Maryland. 4 days later, the 8th, 243,000 chickens destroyed at an egg farm in Newcastle, Delaware. 2 days later, March 10th, 663,000 Cecil, Maryland. Same day, 915,000 Taylor, Iowa. 4 days later, the 14th, 2.7 million chickens destroyed at an egg farm in Jefferson, Wisconsin. 3 days later, the 17th, 5.3 million chickens destroyed at an egg farm in Buena Vista, Iowa. So these were a combination of fires and disasters. And in some cases, they went in with a fake PCR test. Chicken has no symptoms. They tested and said, chicken's sick. Call the entire flock, millions or hundreds of thousands. And then we cry about egg prices going up, supply and demand. They're destroying the supply.
Dude.
And that, again, that's just the first half. But I mean, this thing just kept going on. And it wasn't until, a couple months into the Trump administration that they put the brakes on this crazy thing going on with these tests they're giving these chickens and declaring them sick and declaring that the flock has to be destroyed. I mean, this is like insanity.
It's purposeful.
Yeah, purposeful. That's the point. And then you get Bill Gates. He's the largest owner of farmland in the U.S. He has farmland holdings spanning 18 states, tens of thousands of acres, and so this is the same Bill Gates, right? Who's the main financier of the World Health Organization. The same guy that's pushing the shots, and the same guy that had the TED Talk that said, if we do a good enough job with vaccines and a couple other things he mentioned, we may be able to reduce the world population by 10 to 15%. The same guy that's talking about fake meat, the same guy that's releasing mosquitoes in Florida to supposedly vaccinate people. I mean, this one millionaire, multi-billionaire, I should say, has so much power and has his hands in so many things, including the food supply, that it makes you want to pull your hair out. Like, how is he allowed to do what he's doing? I mean, I think, the guy ought to be hauled before Congress and into court. I mean, for what he's doing. This is like crimes against humanity, the way I see it, if you connect all the dots with what he's trying to do.
And he's somewhat taken a step back in terms of his name everywhere, because his brand is so dead. And it was so funny, like listening to his daughter. It's like, people won't be my friends anymore because of my dad. I'm like, yeah, your dad is Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone knows what your dad is doing. You're trying to do TikTok dances with him, and you're trying to humanize him. And he comes from eugenics. His parents created Planned Parenthood, and what Planned Parenthood has done to the black community is insanity, dude. And
absolutely.
And it's just this thing where it's like, Are they above the law? Who? When was the last time any of these elites got taken down? Ghislaine Maxwell, that seems to be it. And now she's on work furloughs, you know? I mean, it's just, and that is a demoralization. That's done to demoralize us. It's like this predator class. Steven Seagal said nobody's above the law. Wrong, Steven. There's a bunch of people above the law. And they're all part of the elite class.
Fauci.
We will see. Yeah, Fauci. Oh my gosh. Talk about crimes against humanity. That's about as bad as it gets. But, you know, we will see. I mean, will we see the indictments? Won't we see them? I mean, I think we have maybe 6 months at the most to start seeing something really big start to come down. And I mean, if it doesn't happen in that time frame, I'm going to be really doubtful as to whether it will. But it does seem like they're serious about it, you know, in a way that I haven't seen before. Here's the thing about Trump. He's unpredictable and he's gutsy. I mean, he goes big. And so if anybody has the courage to do it, it would be him. I don't think there's anyone else who would have the courage to try it. But let's face it. I mean, the guy they were trying to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They stole an election from him and he knows it. They tried to kill him. You know, if that's not enough motivation to go hard at these people, I don't know what would be. And I think the guy has guts. He's shown that. And so I think he's unpredictable, and I hope he's being clever and playing his cards right, and he's setting a trap for them. I mean, maybe that's too much to hope for. Maybe that's like believing in Santa Claus. But
I mean, the question
part of me is hoping he's able to pull it off.
What else do you got? I mean, like, what else do you got? I mean, it's like you got to hope there's a shredded decency everywhere, anywhere. But are you concerned with his play on the Epstein list? Does that concern you? With him going, Epstein, you're still talking about this thing? You're still talking about this guy?
That was weird, wasn't
You're
it?
still talking about him, Pam, let me handle this. You're still talking about this? You're still talking about the guy with 10,000 videos of him with little children? That's what you're still talking about?
So creepy the way he pivoted on that.
That's a great imitation.
Thank you.
Okay, my take's a little different. I haven't heard anybody put it quite like this. Maybe you have. But here's what I think is going on. I think he really did want it to be released because he knows he has nothing to hide. I do think he was concerned that if it was released in full, that so much corruption would be brought into the open on just about every major section of world government and banking system and everything else, that it could cause such a freak out that the whole system would come down on an accelerated collapse. You know, maybe. Okay, that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is he knew, in my mind, I think he knows he didn't do anything. So he was going to have him release everything. And when the FBI looked in it, they found out that they had inserted all kinds of crap in there on him that wasn't true. And he probably freaked because even if it would all be proven not true, somebody that wants to get things done, the last thing he wants is 2 more years of like the Russia BS that he had to put up with that was like a ball and chain around his ankle toward getting anything done. I think he freaked out when he found out there's stuff on him in there that's fake stuff, that he just thought, the heck with this, you know, and he tried to bury it. That blew up on him. And now I think he's like, I don't care, just release the whole thing. We're going to have to go through this, you know. But I think the guy just wants to get stuff done, and he saw this as a big diversion, like he had in the first term, that would block major portions of his agenda from getting done because the media would run away with it. It's all we'd all be talking about, and you know that would just destroy the momentum that he's working so hard to get going here. I mean, that's my take. Maybe I'm wrong.
You know, what's very interesting is it's almost had the Streisand effect.
Yes.
And for the first time, we're seeing issues now where the right and the left are starting to come together. And whatever Trump's doing, and whether it's purposeful or not, it's happening. You know, Epstein, Israel, you're seeing like people on both sides.
The food supply, like
what
the
is
whole
going
health
on?
thing,
And
all that.
And people are waking up to it. And, you know, they tried to pass this bill which said that if you don't work with Israel, you can't get FEMA funding. And the reaction was so insane that they backtracked on it.
They backed off, yep.
And I want you guys to realize that is the real power.
Yes.
Like, we really do control everything. We just let them do it, and we think we're powerless. Look at that bill. That thing got smushed. Now they'll try to sneak it in a 12,000 sheet bill. Just so
the AI thing was pulled too. That they were going to have immunity for 10 years.
Oh yeah,
that you couldn't contradict it or go against it at the state level, and that was also pulled.
Alan, what do you think of? So I was a kid. I remember we were in the Cold War. That's how old I am. And we were going to war with Russia, and we were having a nuclear arms race. And I remember this is one of my memories from being a child. I don't know what that says about me, but I remember there was a big news story that we were sending aid to Russia. We were going to send all this money to Russia. And I was really blown away. I go, but we're in an arms race with them. Why are we sending the enemy aid? And I go, oh man, it's all bullshit. That's why it's just a shadow in the cave to get us to be okay with increasing military spending. Well, now we got this AI situation where we're supposed to be in this war with China in this AI race, and we're sending them what, superconductors, Johnny? What is that?
Yeah, I could never figure that out. Like he was saying, who's the guy that runs that? I forget. He was saying it'll be good if we're all using one shared platform. I'm thinking, why? Why give them your platform? I don't want them to have your platform. Let's keep that for us.
I think it's that to help them get that 10 years of not passing any laws on AI, which it would be catastrophic. Just imagine where the internet was 10 years ago. Yeah. Now think about 10 years from now, and now you've done no regulation on AI.
Oh my gosh.
And AI is completely, I mean, AI, you think the internet was on a fast pace. AI is going to be, it's impossible to imagine the rapidity with which AI will advance.
Oh my gosh, it's scary. It's scary. I mean, yeah, you guys know what you can do in terms of. I mean, you can create songs with AI in a matter of.
And they're great.
I was on one podcast, and the podcast went live 2 days later, and they created a music video on the 11 pillars that this book's about.
That's crazy.
I mean, there's a whole theme song and everything, and it sounded really good. I sent it to a friend of mine who's a guitar player, and he's like, damn, that's really good. You know, it's all AI. And he turned it in 2 days with the graphics and the music and everything.
Just think about a few years back. Remember The Irishman, that Martin Scorsese movie where they couldn't make Robert De Niro not look like he's 90 years old because it's just not possible. And now... I mean, no problem. Dude, there are kids in their basements who can make more compelling special effects than major studios spending millions of dollars could have done 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Oh, dude,
well, my book,
5 years from now.
My book has, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 60 or more graphic images in it that I created with AI. And I made them all so that they're like black and white and have like the Wall Street Journal look of that hand sketched look to them. Oh, yeah. You know, and basically told the AI what I wanted in the style that I wanted. And so like there's graphics all through the book just to make it like an easier read. But this is, you know, I mean, a year before that, I didn't even know how to use it. But that just shows like the power of it just in the hands of someone that doesn't even have a lot of experience, what you can do, you know?
It's a revolution.
It's insanity. And then think about not regulating it. It's just nuts.
Oh yeah,
there's going to have to be something because just purely for the fake news threat, you know, I mean, you're talking wars can kick off because of, you know, fake videos and images.
So how long does someone sue some type of AI and it actually goes through like a real actual?
What do you mean?
I'm sure
about a lying story,
like a real sue where it actually goes like it hits the federal or the Congress or you know what I'm talking about. Or actually hits.
What do you mean? It gets like the appeals process?
Yeah.
Like yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's something like that already because you're gonna have revenge problems. I because no matter what they say, so much of this stuff is open source, so they can be run locally on computers, and they can just take the restrictions off of it. So yeah, I don't. It's concerning for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is really a crazy world. And did you notice how this AI just kind of broke onto the scene from almost out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it had a life of its own?
Yeah, from nothing.
From nothing to like 100 an hour. I mean, it's just like a race car dropped onto the track, and here it is at full speed running. It's amazing to me how rapidly it came about. And as far as tinfoil hat theories, you've heard the theory that there's like a parallel society that started after World War II with all the German engineers and Nazi engineers, becoming part of NASA and causing the breakaway society that had the better tech. And then when they want to, they let us have some of the tech now and then when it suits their purposes. I mean, I have no proof of this, and it's not in the book, but I just can't help wondering if that's what happened with the AI. Like they had it and they kind of dropped it on us and gave us a version of it, to start working with, so that we could all of a sudden be off to the races, because I think it just hit way too fast.
Well, yeah, and it came at this time where they were talking about Moore's law being dead, like the idea that computer chip silicon would be exponentially more powerful and miniaturized and more energy efficient. And there was a talk like, oh, that's dead now, because that was the whole like Ray Kurzweil and those people who were technologists who were kind of depending on that, their theories of a future for humanity where life extension is kind of outcompetes evolution, where they were all dependent on Moore's law. And then now AI picks it up and takes it even beyond what Moore.
Well,
imagined.
the theory is there's been people that have done research that they believe AI is actually 40 years old from the 80s, and what we're getting is kind of what Alan's talking about. The early version, like I think that's probably with robots too. What they're showing us these robots that walk like Joe Biden, and probably in reality is they have like fully formed ninja robots that are just slick and move quick.
Yeah, you see it. You're starting to see that a little now. I saw one running down a hill the other day. Did you? And it was pretty.
Oh, it was dressed like. Who was it? It was dressed really funny. It had like a Hawaiian shirt on or something, and it was like going down the hill, and it was just like walking like Joe Biden trying to just walk. So now we're on energy. I know we don't have much longer, but energy. That's the crazy thing right now. Like energy should be free, and they're just making it harder and harder. And then let's not even get into PG&E and what they're doing to these smart meters blowing up and all that stuff.
Yeah. And the thing with energy is to pull us away from reliable forms of energy. Coal, natural gas, oil. Any storable form of energy, it has been under attack, right? All they want is wind and solar driving electric power. And of course, the cars to be electric power and, to get everybody on electrical vehicles by 2035, which they did roll back, but California didn't roll back. But it's a control point. So if we can get everybody on unreliable electrical power, there will be less electrical power, and therefore there'll be less electrical power to power your car so that your travel freedom is easier to control. And the grid isn't strong enough. You're not going to be able to charge your car on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever it is. Your chargers could be very well restricted when you're traveling, so you can't really travel that far. Your smart meter on your home, it's all electric power. We can turn it off. I mean, they were doing this in Europe this past winter or the winter before, that you were only allowed to have your home in some countries heated to a certain temperature. And if you went beyond that, the government could come after you.
That's crazy.
So you can see the control that you can have if you can get everybody on wind and solar, which are intermittent, and would really drive down the amount of power that people could have. I mean, of course, now they want to give infinite power to AI. So now all of a sudden it's cool to have nuclear plants and coal plants for AI, but nobody seems to be talking about nuclear and coal for the citizens of the Western world. But it is really a control point. And think of storable power, and how they're how they were trying to get rid of gas stoves and hot water heaters, so that now you're not somebody building a home is much likely to build a gas powered home because, what's the point if you can't have, your furnace or whatever. And they're doing the same thing in Canada. I was on another podcast. He said,
unbelievable. We
have minus 40-degree winters and they're trying to put us all on the electric grid. He said, this will be suicide. And I said, I bet they're not building the grid fast enough to handle it either, are they? And he said, well, they say they are, but we haven't seen it. So we're supposed to make the leap and hope the bridge is there before we hit the ground. You know what I mean? So yeah, it makes no sense. And this is just another thing, just like the wide open southern border, where you would say, this makes no sense. If you're going to get everybody on wind and solar, then you better have a really well-developed wind and solar power supply. And you don't get rid of coal plants until you've got the replacement. I mean, it's suicide. So yeah, it's just more evidence to me that they're trying to bring it down because it makes absolutely no sense.
What's some of the other pillars?
So, privacy is a big one, and we've all seen that. But there's privacy. What didn't we talk about? We didn't talk about the medical system, or the last two are self-identity and faith.
Yeah, let's get into self-identity. Oh, you mean like what is self-identity? What's that pillar?
Okay, so it's talking about a few things. The book mainly focuses on, the gender confusion. Yes. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Is it fluid? And this whole movement within the school systems to basically confuse our children. There was one study in one school system that they checked where 30% of the students identified as the other gender. Because this is a top-down effort. When Obama was in, do you remember when he just made his decree that every bathroom in a public school system must be gender neutral? You can use whatever bathroom you want, or we're going to pull the federal funding. So that's just an example of the top-down control. And then what did we see? I guess it was kind of in the post-COVID days where we saw the Target, the big box stores adopting these policies as well, and lots of big businesses starting to adopt these policies. And then it was, men and women's sports. I mean, it's only since Trump came back in that he's basically shamed the federal government and big corporations into dropping that policy. He's exposed it as a lie and as just foolishness. And so he has the power to get it out of the federal government. But have you noticed a lot of the big businesses are dropping the policy? I mean, there was one comedian who came out and said, he's given us permission to be funny again because all this, DEI attitude and gender confused attitude and, is going by the wayside. People are seeing it for what it is and rejecting it. So that's the self-identity pillar, but it also includes just a sense of your culture. What am I as a citizen? What am I as a member of my family? It's like, who am I and what am I? And, if you go back in time to say our parents and grandparents' generation, they had a much stronger sense of identity within their family and within their culture and within their history. So people can be proud of their past and their heritage and all that stuff and celebrate all that. That's all great. But when they almost have no sense of who they are, that's the opposite, and that makes for a weak society.
Demoralization,
and it takes you to a point where, along with eliminating the borders and just making this one big kind of mixed pot of everybody's in the country at the same time, and there's hardly any difference between one country and the next. We lose our sense of heritage of who we are because everybody's just mixing in and invading every country. It kind of all goes together with the identity thing as well.
And you see this a lot. They'll do man on the street stuff, and they'll be like, they'll interview somebody, be like, what's your nationality? Colombian, Mexican, African. Are you proud to be? Yeah. Then they'll ask white people, are you proud to be white? No. It's like, what are you talking about? And, I've seen the old school liberals. Some of them are in comedy and they've railed against nationalism. And I want to go, where does that exist? What other country does that exist in? What other country are they not proud? When a British boxer comes and fights in America, all of Britain comes over to support him. They sing the national anthem. They sing all that stuff.
They're trying to kill that now, though, in England for sure. I mean, I saw there was a big controversy while I was there about people putting flags out and how they were seeing that as like anti-immigrant, putting the English flag.
Yeah,
out.
they're Bolsheviks, dude. It's a Bolshevik revolution in the West. Even the
Bolsheviks had a flag, though.
It's rich kids who have their whole life never had to go have a need that wasn't met. They never had to go without want. Everything. So their minds wander into this kind of fantasy land where they're like they're helping the people by getting rid of these institutions that our world are built on. And it's like, yeah, I have a real problem with the military industrial complex and what's done to America, but I love where I live. I love, every time I travel around the world, I can't wait to get back home. I love where I live. It's not perfect.
With you.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like as a Mexican, I remember watching Cain Velasquez and it had brown pride. To me, that was crazy. It was cool. It was cool because I was like, that's cool. But I never looked at it as like, I grew up older. I was like, oh, white people could never have white pride. Imagine a guy, world champion with white pride on his chest.
Wake up, white people.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And please tell me the difference outside of one's religion, one's race between white nationalism and Zionism. There is no difference. The ending result is the desire for an ethnocentric country. That's the exact same thing. One's demonized, one's encouraged, and it's all done on purpose, man. This is the only country where you're not allowed to be proud to be in your country, even though if they went anywhere else, they would be. I mean, like, there women in this country who hate America go over a border and their rights instantly go down.
Oh yeah.
Their safety instantly goes down.
You're old enough to remember the Reagan era, right?
Yeah.
You remember when Reagan came in and how he turned that around and how all of a sudden people were becoming proud to be an American again? I mean, he came in after the Carter years, which were a total disaster.
Morning in America,
it's
right?
pretty similar. Carter to Reagan is pretty similar in a lot of ways to Biden to Trump. I mean, a lot of the same issues are similar issues. But, I mean, there was a movie back then called Iron Eagle, and
dude.
This is it was about it involved the Air Force or somebody, I forget. There was a story where they're basically on a rescue mission, and they're talking about Ronald Reagan, and they're talking about taking this Air Force jet into some other country to do this mission, and they're talking about we got Ronald Reagan, and why do you think they call him Ronald Reagan? Because he was all about rah America and American strength and power and pride in America again. And so I mean, it can turn around.
Well, we saw it after 9/11 too, right? It was also and they abused it. And that's kind of what I want to ask, because my instinct always is, skeptical, just a naturally skeptical person. I don't mean of conspiracies or anything, but just thinking about not buying what the government is pushing on me. Yeah, they were pushing propaganda, or jingoism, I guess you'd say, and national pride from the top down in that instance after 9/11, and they abused the fervor for revenge, and this national identity at the time. So I wonder, is there a balance there? Because to me I have trouble feeling pride over like what people I didn't know and really had no connection to did. Just because we happen to share a patch of ground. I know that's not a popular opinion necessarily, but it does seem, I mean, how do you balance that, between being easily led by your government, and whipped into a national fervor, versus what is necessary to kind of preserve the national identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know what you're saying is because these globalists who are, manipulating us know that we have that, and they abuse it at every turn. And it seems like just about every war was started on false pretenses.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to be really careful. But the crazy thing is, I think the globalists that basically been running the country for the most part for a long time have engendered this sense of nationalism in the population because it helped them for building their war machine and for encouraging recruitment. But the crazy thing is, they actually created something in a way that I didn't think they thought would happen, and that is a true sense of pride in America and what the founding fathers intended, the Constitution, the way it was intended to be. Like, a lot of Americans are proud Americans for the right reasons, and so they've created a culture has been created of people who really care about the country and want to do the right thing. I mean, it's a strong element, or else, the military, the service would never have been as big as it was were it not for that belief that a lot of people have. And so it's like a two-edged sword. It's like they created a monster in terms of what could rise up to bring them down at some point, when really they were doing it for their own reasons to control and manipulate and have their war machine maybe. But at the same time, they created a power that could potentially bring them down.
And you hear people now that are inclined to nationalism, national identity thinking, kind of betraying the American values now and calling for a strong man and saying, hey, maybe it's time to try proper, fascism. I mean, that's being mainstreamed, I would say. I keep hearing that more and more. Does that concern you?
That does, yeah. That would concern me a lot because, like they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Our founders didn't want a king. They tried to make George Washington a king, and he wouldn't let them. So we can never go there, as far as I'm concerned. It is a fine line because as things get more and more out of control, you need someone strong enough to bring it back in control.
Yes, yeah.
But we've seen other countries that go down that path, and then they end up with a dictator, and it seems they never go back to democracy. So we got to be really careful.
I agree.
Yeah. And I really do believe that they've used all their tricks and they're running out. And if they do something like a bomb going off, we know who's doing it. We know they assassinate people. We have a pretty good idea who's doing it. And I think that their secrecy thing has gone away, and that's why they're struggling to control it. That's why I think people's fear of censorship and cancel is gone. Being canceled is gone, and I think they know exactly who's behind what and where and why. And so I think we are primed. And I think if they had it their way, we would be in war with Iran right now. But And say whatever you want about the American people, and I love America, and I love the American people, and that's what this show's all about. They consistently vote in people that say they're going to stop wars. Outside of Joe Biden, who completely sold the election, the most blatant steal. George Bush was the same way. But they vote people in under the guise of that they're going to stop war, and they get in and they don't. The American people are over war. They're over dying for a foreign country. They're over it, man. And eventually it's going to get to the point where it's like, if you're at all pro-war, you're going to get ran out, dude. You see these people having town halls, these politicians, and they're just getting murdered by their own constituents. They can't get a word out. They're getting booed off stage. Ted Cruz is walking off. Ted Cruz, whose dad was at the assassination of JFK and who is Canadian, is lecturing America. Get the here, dude. Sorry about that, Alan. I know you're a proper man. I didn't want to swear.
Yeah. So no, that's so true. I think the people are waking up, and I love it. I mean, because we've been blind for so long, and the reason I wrote the book was really to win over the people who just don't see it, and we all have those kind of people in our families and friends and everything. I have people, believe it or not. So I offer the book in bundles, and bundles of 3, 6, 12, and 18. And I have people who are buying them in sets of 18. Like once they read it, they get it for their friends, and they because this is the thing, we got to wake people up. That's what we're all talking about, right? Like we've been awakened, and it's been a path, a long path, but we want the people around us who just don't get it to be awakened too. I mean, I think we all have that kind of pain, if you want to call it, for the people who are just totally blind and don't get it and don't realize how vulnerable they are because they don't get it. And we want to wake them up. So that's why I did it. And I've had a few people tell me that it really woke them up, including one lady that I used to work with who knew of none of this stuff that we're talking about.
Crazy,
none of it.
Right?
I gave her the book, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And because it has 100 links to videos that uses QR codes throughout the whole thing. So you can use your cell phone as you're reading the book, you hop off to a video. And she said, and she left an Amazon review saying this too. She said, the videos were what won me over. I saw the proof of what you're telling me. And she goes, now I realize I got to make a bunch of changes in my life. And I thought, wow. So if it can win somebody over like her, hopefully it'll win a lot of other people over too. And for people who are like you and me, who kind of get all this stuff, it'll also connect a lot of dots for you so that you have it all in one place, like the big picture. Because like the front of the book is, what is globalism? Who are the globalists? What are they trying to achieve? And what have they achieved so far? And then there's the 11 pillars that they're trying to bring down. And then on the back end, it's what do we do about it? Like, how do we prepare? How do we educate others? How do we become mentally resilient? How do we help each other out and get the word out there and push back and stop it from happening? That's really the hope, that enough people can wake up that we reach this tipping point that we can never have a stolen election again, because there's just too many people voting the right way for anybody to ever steal it again. And that means people have to wake up. A lot more people have to wake up.
Well, Alan, it was an honor to talk to you. Sorry about the language, buddy. I feel
no worries.
I feel dirty saying dirty words in front of you because you're a good man. It's an honor to talk to you. One more time, tell them where they can find you and where they can find your book.
Yeah, so go to globalcollapsebook.com. You can get links to get it on Amazon, or you can get signed copies. And the signed copies are no more expensive than an Amazon unsigned copy. And when you get bundles, the price goes down. So it makes a pretty cool gift for people. To receive a signed copy of something good. It's kind of a good conversation starter, and it's more likely they'll read it. But it's available also on ebook, on audiobook, hardcover, softcover. Globalcollapsebook.com. You can connect to my social media from there as well. I hope you check it out and give it a shot. Help me get the word out. I'd love that.
Well, the word will be out, brother. We appreciate you coming on. It was an honor to talk to you. Great guest. You have an open door anytime. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back. And we look forward to our next conversation. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everybody. Let's break down the episode. All right, guys. What did you guys think of Alan Paul Roberts?
Those pillars are coming down.
I felt bad swearing in front of them.
Yeah, there's some people you kind of feel a little like sheepish in front of, you know what I mean?
You're like, oh, this guy's a nice conservative man. I'm dropping F-bombs in front of him.
This guy shouldn't have to hear this language.
He's probably like, what did I get myself into?
I think he enjoyed himself.
No, I think he did too. People like the energy, dude. People like the energy, man. And, the swarm is powerful. To get in front of the swarm is amazing. And
which is why it's so important to get in front of the swarm with ideas like he is bringing, you know what I mean? Like, because, the one thing that we didn't quite mention, we mentioned being active in local government, but also just taking some agency in what you buy, like looking for Made in America if you can, because it's going to hurt. If we're going to do it, we're going to have to take some pain in the short term, even on that very basic
level. Got to go through it to get to it, dude.
You're going to have to buy American for a while, and it's going to be more expensive.
None of XG's cousin's shit.
So I was about to bring that up. I was about to bring that up. We talk about cell phones being more expensive, shoes, cars if they were made here. I mean, for real, if we're going to deport all the illegals, fruit's going to get expensive.
Yeah.
Fruit, but if we really
grow your own fruit,
strawberries ain't gonna be as cheap as they are right now. We're already complaining about groceries, and if we're gonna pay those workers what they're supposed to get paid with insurance, that fruit ain't gonna be that cheap. That fruit salad is gonna be at least $20.
But the point is that if you are employing all these people
They
at
should
a
have money.
living
Yeah.
wage, everyone's going to be able to afford more shit. Right?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if everyone's on a fucking, I work at McDonald's, and there's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. You know, they can't afford much stuff. But if everyone gets a living wage, it kind of goes around. And maybe if we stop printing all this money, if we actually did what some people think, which is burn the money, which I find absolutely ridiculous. It's like to think that they don't charge interest.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. The interest is the way you destroy the country, by constantly putting it in debt.
Well,
But I also get into, sorry, XG, I also get into, we should tell the Federal Reserve to go f itself. Hey, we're not paying you back jack shit.
If we all did it, they could do nothing. But it's just finding
But when
the
they have us
balls.
so divided, dude,
Yeah.
it's so divided. And you just have idiots trying to present themselves as like authority and intellectuals. Like, have you seen the Amanda Seals Jubilee?
Oh, no, I haven't yet.
Oh my God, she just gets cooked. She just gets cooked. She can't control her emotions.
I almost watched it for that reason. I was like, she's going to get destroyed.
No, she gets annihilated.
Oh, thank God.
She gets annihilated. And like one woman went up and she's like, my brother was killed by blacks. My cousin was killed by blacks.
Can we just say
and
what
she's
you're talking about? Amanda Seals. It's that 20 versus 1 or 100
Yeah,
versus
20
1.
versus 1.
And it's all black conservatives
versus
Amanda
her.
Seals, yeah.
And she's crying about oppression as she is there, like guilt you into, hey, don't talk to your mama like that. And she's like, no, he's like, f off. You know, he didn't say that, but he was
She's so condescending, and it doesn't work with other black people.
yeah,
It's her normal
they can't
thing.
use their black superpowers that they use on white progressives.
100%.
They want you to they want to destroy all the institutions that the guest brought up, and because they want chaos, and they don't understand they're doing the bidding of the people they hate.
The dumbest debate
By
format ever.
being BLM and burning down your city, you're allowing Trump to bring in the National Guard.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You have no clue. The best way to fight it is the way that we kind of preach here, which is pull yourself out. Don't engage in it. Right?
And it's also that video I played years ago on TFH where you kind of have to, at some point, actively sabotage the system. You know what I mean? Like, the guy is this great video, this guy, and it's a famous video, and I can never remember the name of it, but he's talking about how you have to, at some point, use your body, insert yourself into the machinery as like a saboteur, you know what I mean? And I think that's the answer, to kind of become a part of it's what the Ron Paulites tried to do, and then, the rules
to get
were
elected
changed.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, and just actively with the machinery. Go
but again, if we
undercover.
go back to the FEMA Israel thing and how they leaped backwards based on the feel, like that should let you know the power. And the power comes from, if you don't listen, elections as we know it are bullshit unless you actually work together to take out bad politicians. And they can only rig an election if it's razor close. So they can tip it one way or the other depending on who they want to get in. But if it's blatantly one way, the illusion dies. And I'm sorry, but that's a big reason. I say this all the time. Fuck it, Pearl Harbor, JFK, 9/11. I know people are going to call me crazy, but Hillary Clinton kneecapping Bernie Sanders was a watershed moment in our country, because it was the first time blatantly the elites told us, your opinion doesn't matter. We're giving you who we want. And it was the death of the DNC, to the point they need to take money from Mexican cartels to fund their campaigns and completely rig the election against Donald Trump the first time.
Here's it's Mario Savio. He was a guy who was part of the Berkeley free speech movement, for what it's worth. But it's just 20 seconds. Here you go.
And if you're doing the thing to the people who run it, to the people who own it, but unless you're free, the machine will be.
Because that's the only power we have as citizens is to prevent the entire system. From
But you
functioning.
got this right here demonizing 50% of the population.
Yeah.
You're never going to come together because it's not race, it's economic levels.
Well,
but
yeah.
she's rich cosplaying oppression.
That's
this is
it.
cosplaying right here.
We have to
Her in her
realize
dumbass
classes.
jacket.
When we realize that we're all part of a class and not two political parties or two races or however many races, when we realize we're all one class and it's the class that's not in power, it's not the class without money and on the highest level,
But it's
then
also
we can come together.
also you have to teach people that there's a game of life and you have to play the game. And because you've been treated poorly in the past doesn't mean the rules don't apply to you. And that's a big problem right now.
What do you mean by that? What are you? What?
Well,
what are you
I mean,
talking
like, let's take black people. I mean, and granted, it's the internet, right? The internet is constantly showing us the worst of everything. So
Absolutely.
we have these situations where we see like just black crowds going nuts on people, and that's promoted to make everybody afraid of black people. But those situations are happening.
Like what are they? Like tourists getting beat up and stuff? What are you
Tourists
saying?
getting beat up, people at businesses getting beat
Like,
up,
there was this video of
women
these white
going
girls.
behind the counter at a KFC and beating the shit out of everybody that works there.
Well, there was a story in England while I was there. I hate to keep bringing that up, but this woman reported shoplifters. It was teenagers, and the guy works there was like, yeah, this happens every week. We can't do anything about it. And they heard her report it and like snitching on them. She was getting ready to call cops. They just beat the shit out of her too and left.
Whoa.
And they do it every week. And it's like, I think it was like Marks and Spencer. And they were just like, which is kind of like a fancy Kroger or something. And they were just like, yeah, can't do anything about it. Whatever,
Yeah,
told
but
us.
that's demoralization. And they're making it
Yes.
so bad that those people are going to cry for a police state.
No, it happens at my grocery store. I go and I do self-checkout. I pay for everything. Then you watch a guy go in there and steal everything. And at that point, I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I sitting here paying for it while this steals it? And they know he's stealing it. It's not like he's slick. We all watch him pay one thing and he's fast and then he walks out with the lot. He smells like shit. And you look at them and they're like, we're not allowed to do anything. And I'm like, then why am I paying for my shit?
It's so different too. When I was in college, dude, I worked at Sears, and the loss prevention guy was this guy who wanted to be a cop, this big black dude, but for whatever reason wasn't. And he would love tackling, bro. He would just tackle people on the way out the door and like lay on them and stuff. And it's just completely there. I mean, you're not even allowed to touch anybody now. I remember a few years after that, I've heard for the first time a girl I knew worked at J. Crew, and she said they weren't even allowed to say, "Hey, don't do that" to them because of out of fear of being wrongly accusing somebody and being sued. They and from there obviously got worse.
You guys might have ran into your guys' algorithm. Did you see the video of these 3 kids stealing from CVS? And they kept saying,
Which one?
You're right. And no, but then their sister tells them that they like get confronted and they're trying to steal, and the mom was like, "Stop stealing," and they were just stealing food. But then, let me see if I can find the video. It'll explain.
While you
everything
do
I'm saying.
that, can you go to samtripoli.com too? Guys, and just go to my dates real quick. I want to tell you about my dates.
Do you have dates, Sam?
I have dates.
Let's hear 'em.
I've got dates. Kansas City, August 28th through the 30th. Cleveland, Chicago, Illinois, September 12th and 13th. Ventura, California, September 24th. October 10th, I'm going to be in Tulsa. October 11th, I'm going to be in OKC. Then I'm going to be at the Fat Man in Austin on October 17th through the 19th. I'm doing Kill Tony on the 20th. And then we will be at Skankfest, New Orleans. And again, announcing the big news, the big announcement is that we are going to be in Las Vegas. We're going to be in Las Vegas Friday, November 21st. We're going to be going to it's going to have the Raiders versus Cleveland game on Sunday. The show is Friday. Saturday, we'll all hang out and party. And then Sunday night, we're going to the game. So join us if you can. I should see if we can get a group of tickets together and see if we can pack that out.
You think the Raiders are going to be good?
I think they're going to be decent. Do you want them to be absolutely great so that they don't get a future quarterback in the next draft?
It's tough, isn't it? When you
I just don't want to get. I want to have hope. I just want to have hope, and you don't want to waste Genty's years.
Who do they have? Who do they have at quarterback? What are their
Geno
options?
Smith.
Who's the backup to him?
OAC. O'Connell.
Oh. Okay.
And then they got
Jeez.
this kid from like one of those like FBS schools or whatever. That
Geno Smith's all right though.
Geno Smith is more than all right. He'll function, but you want to be good so your fans stay engaged, but you don't want to, because next year's supposedly a ton of awesome quarterbacks. And everyone's pressuring Manning to come out. I think he's going to go all 4 years, dude.
He said that's what they said. Yeah,
Because he knows that he wants to be as many reps as he possibly could get. What is this?
The one I was trying to tell you about.
Yeah, that's what they should. You got to get, again, like I said earlier, you got to have the rule of law. You got to outlaw stealing, outlaw violence. You must protect kids at all times, and you must shun lying.
Is she wearing her bathrobe?
Dude, they're literally shoplifting, and there's all three of them
in the bathrobes,
and they're locked in, and they're like, open the door, and they start slamming the door. And they're like, so what? We're not leaving. It's just this attitude where you're just like, and they know they're stealing, and it's candy. It's
every
not even.
CVS should have some jujitsu guy that they just pay like $30 an hour. To
Only 10th Planet. Just send a 10th Planet into CVS.
Yeah, I mean, these kids have no chance, and they're just wild. And because nobody in their life told them to stop.
Are they all kids, actually? Is that a kid also?
They're
right
all
there?
kids, yeah. It's just, they're just, look at them. They're just there. Like, open the door.
Yeah, then he's trying to hit him.
Yeah, he's trying to hit him. Now they're going, I'm gonna break this window if you don't open the door. Just like acting like grown kind of man. Where you're like, dude, these are
because they probably had to be on their own forever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like raising kids are hard, man, because you gotta be stern with them, dude. Amanda Seals is garbage.
Total idiot.
Yeah, just go to samtripoli.com. The premium content is fire right now. I've been crushing it. 3 episodes a week, as long as I'm not on vacation. Great stuff there. The good shit, the instant shit, the dangerous goes on there. Anything big on the internet, we discuss that night. Whatever this is.
You're not watching, documenting about it?
Yeah, I mean, you know how hard it was to find a picture that didn't involve penetration? It was awful.
Well, those porn chicks.
Yeah, I go up. Pictures of no nudity, bang nudity. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that, you scumbag. Go down, Cash Daddies, talk about it, Johnny.
How he's killing it. He's always killing it. The guy is tireless. He posts every day. He's been focusing too on more educational stuff, kind of, during the podcast, especially now. But yeah, they, yesterday they killed it.
I wish you do more stuff with his shirt on.
Yeah, he's like Gordon Ramsay. You notice how Gordon Ramsay on Kitchen Nightmares used to always take his show himself changing into a different shirt so he get his flex on.
Yeah, I mean, if you work out, you want people to see
how he
it.
does the same thing.
I don't know if how he works out.
I was about to say, does he work out?
But look at that hair, dude. That guy's got the best hair.
dude.
I mean,
Great
unbelievable. Fully retarded.
Full Eddie Monster.
But has great hair. Idiot Savant. Go down. Chaos Twins is coming, guys. Episode 2. Please grab it. I'd love if you guys check it out.
So
it would be a real blessing.
Are you going to age them over the years, like grow them up?
I don't know,
Or are they gonna
man.
be that
We're
same
still
age
figuring it out. Next one. Then go down. And again, guys, I want you to check out our friends, the Live Longer formula. I mean, dude, it's like if you want to live healthy, there's a lot of stuff in the health world that is bonkers, bunk. Sit down, watch, hang out with them. You guys can set up. You get you can take a master class. You can set up a session with him, and it'll work on your health. I mean, we love him very much. He's coming on next month. Going to do a really big breakdown, but this is a great way to get in shape. One more to go back one. And then if you love XG and you love his just incredibly smart questions, well, you can thank Microdosing and Brain Supreme for that. Brain Supreme. I met somebody who said they were on 6 of them.
That's not micro.
Is that? Yeah, I don't think that's micro
just
at all.
dosing.
Yeah,
That's
you're having
just
fun.
dosing.
He's having fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do it during jiu-jitsu. I really would. I would love to do it. I'm trying to look at the fine print to see if I can get around.
think microdosing, you're totally fine, dude.
Yeah, the athlete one, stick to the athlete one. It'll keep you more.
I'll think about it. I'm really open-minded.
Because there's at that level, there's no psychoactive effects.
Okay,
Just don't treat
convinced
it-
me. Johnny wants me to relapse.
All you got to do is just don't treat it like zinc.
If anybody doesn't want you to, it's me.
Yeah, the wheels instantly come off.
Yeah.
I'm blowing dudes for sins. And that's about it. Anything else?
This hat is available at fullytoxic.com. This NPC hat everyone's been asking about. Fullytoxic.com.
Nice hat. At Johnny Woodard on Twitter. New Broken Sim should be out by now. Check it out.
Great
Check it out.
episode today. Super crushed. Guys, you got to understand everything is a Bolshevik revolution to destroy our institutions. Both sides on it. You know, the guest was great. He has a little more hope in Trump than I do. You know, Trump, I take it issue to issue. There's some things I like that he's really doing well. I think it is bringing back, you know, all these jobs and factories. But the question is, who's going to get these jobs? Is it going to be HB1 visa guys, or is it going to be Americans? Is it going to be AI? Who's it going to be? Robots? If there are actual jobs for Americans, I'm in, dude. I'm in.
Yeah, what he said too is right about Europe being ahead of us. It's like on fast forward, but I mean, we can't let that happen to this. I'm all in favor of legal immigration and having. I believe in, you know, the value of bringing fresh blood into, you know, because a society can stagnate and go backwards, but we cannot do. I mean, Europe is not. London is not an English city anymore, and we can't let that happen to New York and L.A. These cultural epicenters for.
I just think LA and New York is, dude. LA seems to be waking up, but New York seems to be just lost. Rich kid Disneyland.
You think LA's waking up, really?
I think you're seeing, dude. That's Spencer Pratt. I can't get him on the show. I'm trying to get him on the show.
Everybody keeps
like, if there's any other issue, I'd be like, why do I want Spencer Pratt on my show? And I'm only saying that because I hit him up constantly. He doesn't hit me back, and I'm like, okay, reality star.
He's like mega famous.
Yeah, but it's not the kind of fame that. No, I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I think he's got levels between him and like people trying to get to him and asking him.
But what he's talking about, this is the perfect show for.
Absolutely,
I mean, he's absolutely murking these Bolsheviks.
Great, it's great.
Absolutely murking them. He's got receipts for everything. I don't know how Gavin Newsom thinks he's making out of California. I just don't. I mean, every day there's a new negative thing coming out about California that he is directly related to.
It's in the script, though. It's clearly what the script writers have in store for us. It's him versus JD Vance, it appears.
That's crazy. If you like, if
JD,
that happens,
I got buff Peter Thiel Vance.
If that happens,
every time I look at him, I go, "Oh, dude, Peter Thiel mounted him, dude. Just mounted him. There's no way he didn't give a mouth.
Just mouth."
Just mouth and ass. There's no way.
His wife is pretty hot, though, JD.
Yeah,
Vance.
but so what? She's like, oh, I can be first vice president woman. Yeah, just take it in the ass, buddy. Go for it. Sorry. Guys, enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. The suspect
Johnny, I'm going to read you something. You tell me if he's guilty or not guilty. This is from Mark. LOL, I'm not banging fans. Do you think he's banging fans or not banging fans?
100%.
Yeah, 100% he's banging fans. You wouldn't have to say that if you weren't banging fans.
No, I don't bang fans, dude.
I don't bang.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm booking like 47 conspiracy podcasts. And I'm not banging fans.
I don't bang
Come
fans.
on. I'm too tall.
I bang people who like my podcast. I don't call them fans.
They're not friends. They're my friends.
Yeah. Sam still riding the Trump dragon, says Bricklayer 17. I don't know. I don't think that's true at all. Sam, spare me with your no. I'm not saying I could tell you all the bad things that he's done while never saying anything about the technocracy he's installing, the 15-minute freedom cities, the social credit score, and the digital dollar. These are all things he talks about all the time.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you. Johnny sticking up for his friends.
Sure, you're against the Democrats, boy, and libtards, but you are on the Trump train. Alliteration.
I'm not on the Trump train. I'm out here calling him out at the detriment of pissing off my own fans. Okay, because I keep it real. I keep it 100. Johnny, did I tell you I'm thinking about getting a tramp stamp? Have I told you that?
I've heard it in passing, but I did not interrogate, and now I want to. So why, where, of what, please?
Okay, so as you know, I don't know how many times you met him or if you met him at all. Jeff Scott at the world famous
I met him. Yeah.
Was the keyboardist for about 20
I worked
years.
with him on that Teeb thing where we did that crazy podcast, that radio show, and he's.
How long did that go, by the way?
Well, it wasn't meant to run. It was like meant to be like a limited series kind of thing. It did okay actually for what it was. It was very, what would you say, like an artsy fartsy kind of thing. But Jeff was a talented person, incredibly.
Yeah. So he passed away during COVID. The store hasn't been the same, and his memorial at the store wasn't as well attended as I think it would have been if it wasn't COVID. And I just feel like he needs to be remembered. So I'm thinking about putting a tiny piano right above my butt crack because he was gay, just so he could be happy there. But now I'm starting to wonder if that's a bad idea and just put it on my left wrist because that's my gay wrist.
Yeah, but then you have to look at it and think about Jeff Scott every time you wank.
Well, I'm
You
okay
want-
with that. Well, I already have I already have Brody Stevens right there. Luckily, luckily I'll try to when I don't want to look at him, I'll just go knuckles up, which is the sign of Illuminati. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Can you? No, I'm curious. I hate to spoil the joke, but do you actually go knuckles up, or is that just for humor?
Sometimes,
Really?
yeah. I
don't
mean, when
think
you've been pounding it so hard for so long, you got to kind of mix it up.
Okay. Wow. Can you? I realize. Can you put your toe in your mouth if you
No.
wanted to?
I would love to. That means I would be great at jujitsu. I can't do
'Cause
that.
I can easily do that, and I found that someone in my life, my girlfriend, she cannot do that. She's much more.
Hold on,
flexible.
you're more limber than your girl, Johnny. Put your toe in your mouth right now.
I'm not. There's 0%.
I know, Johnny. We need the views. Put your toe in your mouth, or else you're lying to us.
I mean, I can show you it in the proximity of my mouth. I got sweaty socks on.
Take it, dude. It's your own sweat.
I touched my nose with it. How about that?
Holy cow, Johnny!
But that's not. I can go like to my head if I wanted to. I think, like,
You can go past your head.
well, probably, yeah.
Let's see. Who thinks Johnny? No, Johnny can't do it. Nice try. Nope, you don't got it. You can just touch.
I
your
just
head,
touched the
which
top
is
of my head with
still-
my foot.
That's a long ways off going behind your head.
No, I didn't
Do
say
it,
behind my
Johnny.
head. I
Now
said go to
everyone's
my head.
excited to see you put your foot in your mouth.
But apparently, there's some like maybe my hips are flexible, and then the rest of me is just completely rigid all the time. But
I wish I could do that. That means I could do some amazing jujitsu. A lot of people think you just used a fake foot. That's not even your foot.
yeah,
That's how deep we are.
I do like to keep a fake foot around for when I need it. Sam's still riding the Trump Dragon. Now let me finish that. Obvious, you could say you drive a Mazda or whatever. It's a Mitsubishi, dipshit.
Yeah, dipshit.
Big difference. You want it. It doesn't matter. None of us actually know. Just like every other podcast, nobody knows about them. They just know what's on screen or in your earbuds. You are always safe, dangerous. He says you're always safe, dangerous. Yeah.
No, I'm dangerous. I don't, dude. XG keeps putting 617, and I looked it up. What does it mean? It means some holy stuff. It's an angel number. I don't think XG's trying to say angel stuff. Just come out and say what you're saying, XG. You want to be a grown ass man playing poker with Filipinos? Then say what you got to say.
It's the Boston area code 617.
Yeah, I don't know what he's
Let me
talking
see.
about.
Maybe it's like a police, like
Oh, now he's
617.
trying to say it's a gag. What does that mean? It's not even good if it's a gag.
What kind
Nobody
of gag
gets
is
it. Yeah, it's not a gag if you're the only one who gets it.
Does anybody
Sam's-
know what he's talking about?
Oh, Johnny, you're gonna love this comment. Sam's lucky to have Johnny. I'll fire him tomorrow, okay? And I'll show you how well I can do by myself, okay? I'll fire him tomorrow.
Yeah, but then who's going to read all the comments? You'd have to get some other random person and get to know them and take the risk that they're insane.
How many people right now think XG is drunk in the comments?
Yeah, by show of hands, just give us a little one in the comments if you think.
Put a
XG
one
is
if you
drunk.
think XG's shit face in the comments.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
Welcome back to number one podcast in the world. We took a week off, but we're coming at you guys heavy. We go over the Roblox Chris Hansen situation. I give you guys some insider scoop on Sam Tripoli, the Joe Rogan episode. And for some reason, Donald Trump wants to act like he cares about weed and think about legalizing it. Also, I do a little recap about Splash House Weekend 1 and how crazy of an event that was. And don't forget, like always, I got my number one producer / graphic designer, Chili Millie. that like button and subscribe. And before we get into the episode, this hat right here that everybody's been asking me for is finally at fullytoxic.com. It says NPC. Don't be a non-playable character. I'm not gonna edit it out. I'm leaving it in. Go buy this hat right now. Go to fullytoxic.com and let's get into it, baby. Let's go. Don't forget, guys, September 6th, I got a private meetup game at the Hustler Casino. September 6th, 1 to 7, I got a 2-3 no limit Hold'em, Texas Hold'em game. $100, $500 minimum, maximum buy-in. So don't forget, RSVP, leave a comment, DM me if you got my number. Pull up. Let's show up, guys. Let's see if we can do this monthly. But that's the reason why we took another week off. I had a crazy week at the casino. I hit the progressive jackpot. I hit the bad beat. Rare, super rare. That means quads over quads. That means some guys 4 of a kind got beat by other guys, some 4 of a kind, which is very rare. And
Wait.
Whoa, what?
I didn't know that they had jackpots on there, which Fernando didn't either. And so I thought, I don't know much, but what does that mean? Because you sent me the video, and I was like, wait, I don't understand. I understand that it's rare.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, super rare. Okay, so like 4 of a kind. That means like you got 4 kings and I got 4 queens. Very rare. Like, it's for you even to have 4 kings, very rare. But for me to have them at the same time you have them, and then for me to beat like, let's say I have queens and you have kings, so your kings beat my queens. I'm so mad because I'm like, bro, I have quads. That's rare. But for you to beat it, it's just very, very rare. So when it happens, the casino has a jackpot, and they divide it up. The jackpot was 20K, so 20K got divided up by the whole table.
Why does the whole table win?
Because it's a progressive jackpot. It's just the rules of the jackpot.
Oh.
It's it. So the guy
but
who
not the 2 people.
Yeah, no. So so here's it is. So the guy that lost that hand. So basically the guy, like, let's say me and you were playing. You have kings. I have queens. Let's say I lose to your kings.
Yeah.
I get most of the money for being the loser.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's weird. They're giving you money because they feel so bad that your queens got popped. Your quads got popped.
But
He
the
took
winner?
so that guy took.
Cody's so mad.
Okay, so
you
the
wanna
loser.
lose.
Yeah, so the loser you kind of want to lose at that point. In a bad beat jackpot,
That's
you want to be the
fucked.
loser, not the winner. But it doesn't matter because you're still winning. Everybody at the table won. That's the point. Everybody's excited. So the guy who lost that hand took $8,000 home.
Okay.
The winner of that hand took $4,000 home.
What the?
And then the whole table divided the rest of it up.
How much?
$8,000. We divided $8,000 by like 6 or 5, and after taxes, I took $1,600 home.
So you didn't win. You're not one of the 2.
I'm not one of the 2. No, if I would have been one of the 2, I would have took like $8,000 or $4,000, which is mean. I mean, I
Dang,
took
that's a lot. You lose $4,000 for winning.
for winning. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, in general,
Who
it
made
yeah.
that rule?
It's called a bad beat.
It's called bad.
It's called bad beat. The guy who because it sucks when your quads get
fucking
popped.
sucks.
Yeah. It was
That's
so exciting.
crazy. So you get like excited because you got the kings, and then you like just
Exactly. You get it.
That
You're so excited. You're like,
sucks.
yeah, I got this.
What a
And then at the
bummer.
end of the day, you're like, what the f? And you're like, you're already like, dude, I never get quads. Not
Does
to
that
get
guy
beat.
look happy?
Everyone was happy. And I mean,
He's
you're a
happy
little
still?
upset. A little. Yeah, he walked away with 4 or 5
Well, I mean,
grand.
could you see it? Because you had to. I mean, I would be bummed.
Yeah, you're a little. I mean,
Because you're just like, I won, but I didn't.
yeah.
That's cool though for the
Yeah,
rest of the
it
table.
was exciting. It literally changed the whole aspect of the table. Everybody was playing all loosey goosey. Everybody wasn't playing poker anymore. It was fun though. I mean, it was like a once in a lifetime thing. I had Cairo, had Will. What the f- playing longer than you have? You
Mhm.
lucky fucker. And I'm just like, well,
That's
I don't know what
crazy.
to tell
You
you.
do have weird luck.
Yeah, I have weird ass luck.
Yeah.
I might not be good at the poker table, but I'll get
But
like
it's
these.
cool that you recorded it too.
Yeah.
Because even when I watched the video, it looked really exciting, but I didn't understand what's going on. And I'm just like, I don't know what the. It's cool. Like I watched the whole video.
I got to give it to you. I don't know what happened, but everybody seemed to love it because my story was going crazy. I had like 5,000 people watch my Instagram story, and that to me, that's crazy numbers. Like I'll get 1,000 here and there, 1,500 if I tag Jen, because these creepy fuckers, dog.
What
Or
is
if I
girls?
tag my sister, I know. Like when
Yeah.
I tag the females, these folks will be like, "Who's that?" And then Instagram will be like, "Oh, someone's interested in whatever the posted." But no, for some reason, there's me winning a jackpot got you guys all turned up. So don't forget, September 6th, if you guys want to win a jackpot at the Hustler Casino, RSVP me, DM me, leave a comment, leave me your number. Let's pack this place out. And there's not that many spots, and they're getting filled up. So
are you vlogging? Are you guys vlogging it?
yeah,
Or can
Rob.
you?
Yeah, Rob's gonna be there. Chili's gonna be there. Cairo's gonna be there. Chiclets is gonna be there. If you RSVP me, you will get a Chiclet hash hole sponsored by Chiclets. So just pull up. It's gonna be a
I'm
good
just
time.
curious about this. So is Chiclets good? Is he good like you two and Cairo?
I'm not that great. Cairo's good.
Oh, okay.
Cairo's good. DJ Will's good. They've been playing for a cool minute. And Cairo he's been hanging out with the pros. Chiclet's got money behind him, and that's the worst part. Is like you can't play with scared money. And
Gotcha.
Chiclets don't play with no scared money. Chiclets got
Does he play or does he play for fun?
No, he plays.
Oh, okay.
Like, dude, he got to my table because I invited him when I was there. I was like, he ended up showing up, and
yeah, I saw his story.
yeah, he cracked my aces. He took $200 away from me, and then he was playing so well at one point that the table kind of wanted him to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's pretty good, but he plays higher stakes. He's good. So
That's
yeah, if
crazy.
you're at the table with
Is he at
Chiclets, careful.
the special tables?
No, there's
Oh,
no. He hasn't
Do you
played
know
special
how,
tables.
do you know what I'm talking about?
The ones me and I'll watch on TV.
I went with my brother one time to the casino, and they have like the ones that are on the side. You know what I mean? Like the.
All the high rollers.
Yeah. Does
Yeah,
he do
no,
those?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
yet. Yeah, but yeah.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, it's a little.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So she's gonna be there. Chili's gonna be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose. I already
Yeah.
don't know shit. Like, explain it to me.
You got a fish right there.
Sorry.
No, but it was a great time. So September 6th, guys, don't forget.
I want to ask you something about poker too, though. I was just curious, but like I watched the Molly's game thing, right? The movie. But I was watching her interview, and she was talking about Dan Bilzerian, and have you heard about him on there on like those games? Do you want to explain those games real fast?
She said he was a good player.
But I guess it's like it's a rumor, no?
That he's not. He's
That
not
he's
a good
not.
player.
He
He's
just
not.
says it because he's just hype.
Oh.
But she didn't say he was. She said like that they kicked him out because he kept winning or he kept taking everybody's money. But then when they said like he's really good, and then she just kind of like she went along with it, but not really.
So he says he's won over $6 million, so much money in poker, and he's not that. Well, what we've seen him play doesn't say he's that good. He claims to have played a lot of private games, which I mean, we can't see private games. They're private games.
Yeah.
We don't know who's playing it. He could be playing with like rich billionaires from Dubai that just don't give a their money. So maybe he did win that money. We don't really know. But what we've seen on TV, what like pros have seen and been like, yo, do you want a pro?
Is that good?
Yeah, well, we've seen. So who knows? And that I can't believe you actually got. I mean, dude. So I had watched the movie. Because I love poker, so I watched the movie. But I really didn't know it was about Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
No, I went deep down that little rabbit hole.
He's kind of like an asshole. They make him an asshole and everything.
They make him an asshole in the movie. Yeah. But I think he was an asshole.
Yeah, they said he was an asshole. I mean, he took the game from her. That's what they said.
I mean, there's two words on the street because he says that he got her. He kicked her out from hosting the games. But it's also said that he hooked her up with the New York spot because she went to New York and started hosting games in New York, and in New York there's more money.
But she went to New York, and then that's when she started doing the drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But what if he just like was like, I got these games. You can either go there, or you're out. And then he just pushed her out, and then she just started getting all drugged out and went with the mafia or whatever. I mean, it's a crazy story on its own, and it's crazy that it's with famous people like Leo and Toby.
Yeah, with Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, and they were kids. They've been hanging out.
Isn't
They've
that
been buddies
crazy?
from when you see pictures.
She was just like, I'm just gonna struggle. I'm gonna like just go and be a waitress and shit. Like her story's nuts. I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. When's the last time you read a book? Well, could you read her book? Her book looked pretty interesting because what? Because they said because you watched the movie. I watched the movie and then I watched the little YouTube little docs.
The way you asked that was funny.
When's the last time you read a book?
I could listen to her book at work.
Like an audiobook?
But I think that they said that she's kind of a liar. So
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.